Doo-be-doo-boo. Oh, yeah, that worked. That's a bit better, isn't it? Here we go. Let's have a look at that. Now, if I refresh that, I should be able to see that on here, shouldn't I? See myself there. See myself over here. Sorry, anybody that's watching at the moment. But I just want to check that this is working over here. Oh yeah, I see a little picture of an eye. There's a few people jumping in now. Darren, Angel and Jardine. I suppose I should speak up for anyone that's listening. Maybe someone can let me know that they can hear me. Come on, this thing. Maybe if I press a button. What does this do? Does that open up a chat thing so I can see things? Oh, I see. A little thumb just come up. That works. Okay. Safari could not open the page because the server stopped responding. Excellent. Maybe because I'm streaming over here. We can try again. Maybe I don't need this. Maybe I don't need this bit over here. Hello, I hear you. Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you, Darren. Now I know that you can hear me. That's a great thing. Am I loud, quiet, everything okay? Oh, loud and clear, brilliant. Thank you, Torrin. Oh, this is miles away. This like everybody's like really small, but I think I can do it. I've got my bionic binoculars on. Can't seem to work over here, but that doesn't matter. I'm gonna just stop that and save myself the bandwidth. Cool. That seems to be working. Just checking something quickly. Okay. So, hello everybody that's here so far. I'm just waiting for something to happen over here. So if anyone wants to ask me a question straight off the bat, I can waffle away and until this thing opens over here. Coming loud and clear. Thank you, Mr. Jardine. I think that's good. Look at that, probably out of focus. Says I'm still live. Okay, that's loaded, that's good. Okay, brilliant. Anyone got a question for me? I'll just sit and chill. I've got a couple of questions here as well, but if anyone's got a question they want to ask, I want to see if the question comes up, you see, because I've lost my feed over here. So if anyone's got a question, ask me anything. Doesn't have to be core space related. Is that a dot on my camera, or is that a dot on my... That's a bit of blue tack on my wall, isn't it? That's weird. Hi, Colin. Oh, see more. Oh dear. Let me just do... here come the questions. Oh, this is going to be difficult. Right, I'm going to bring this in a little bit so I can see what's going on. Core Space is my favourite board game. I play it all the time with my dad. I have lots of extra scenarios and expansions. Blah 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 blah. What was your favourite board game when you was a child? What inspired you? Favourite board game? To be honest, board games. It was really basic stuff. We're talking about like Monopoly and Mousetrap, Connect 4. When I was a child, I remember for Christmas I wanted to have I don't know if this class is a board game, but it was a tabletop board game called I Want to Bite Your Finger. It was I Want to Bite Your Finger, and it was it was an absolutely rubbish game. But I wanted it because there was this vampire back part, and you put your finger in it, and it had like these two little fangs, which were obviously like felt tip pens, and you push its head down or something, it bites the top of your finger and leaves two little red dots on your finger. Oh God, I wanted that game for months and months, but what actually happened was I got it and it was rubbish. So I just made sure core space wasn't that kind of gimmicky thing. Let's angle that a little bit. Right, I'm just going to try and open this over here again so I can see the questions properly, because right now the questions are tiny and I have to click see more every time. Come on, open for me. I could try the old computer one as well, actually, that might work. Let's have a look. Sorry, we're having trouble playing this video. Watch live feed. Get it on there now. Will I see the questions on here as well? Come on. Does it appear in the comments? Let me have a look. Right, here we go. I've got a better thing going on here. I can actually see the questions a bit more. I'm gonna move my laptop from here to here. Otherwise I'm gonna get a crook neck. I'm well prepared. Got a bit of a cough. I've got some handy strepsils. Other throat sweets are available. Here we go. If I could get my camera as close, it's not going to work, is it? Right, okay, that's fine. Okay, here we go. I'm going to just try and bash through some questions because I realise that I'm waffling. So I can see some of these questions a bit better now. So I'm going to scroll up. Let's have a look. So Terry, I Want to Bite Your Finger was my favourite board game growing up, or it was until I bought it. There was another crappy game as well where you had to do something, and a spider like jumps and it gets on the back of your hand, this little foam spider. That was also crap. Mousetrap, that was good if you can set it up and actually make it all work. David, can you tell us how the mechanics will work in Firstborn for downed traders, as we had options for the first one. If you're talking about when a trader gets defeated, it works in exactly the same way. The core mechanics of Firstborn is it runs on the basic mechanics of core space. The way I see core space rules is kind of like a foundation. It's almost like my game foundation for physics. So even if I'm playing a completely different game, and I kind of use my core space, I could use my core space rulebook. So if I'm playing a Star Wars game or a Hellboy game or a Batman game or whatever, I use my core space. I make my core space cards, and that is the physics. So I use that for pretty much all the games that I play. I always have, and so anything that I'm not mentioning so far on Firstborn, it's because it's based on the same thing. So a down trader will get defeated. You'd lay them prone on your character board. You've got your activation counter. You'll flip that over, and it'll work in exactly the same way. You'll get there. You have to stim them up. The difference is you're not going to find stims and things like that, and ammo and that kind of thing in the Firstborn environment. You're going to have to make wiser purchases beforehand. To go in there with you. You will find other things. You'll find some Firstborn technology that restores health and stuff like that, some crazy weird stuff. So you've got that advantage as well. There's one that's like a necro thing that you chuck it at someone, it breaks, and when it kind of really gets them straight up with 4 health straight away. It's very powerful. But at the end of each turn, it slowly disappears. So they might be able to run back to their ship, and worst case scenario, they don't quite make it, but they're near enough for you to drag them back onto the ship. So that's pretty cool. Core space really, the basic mechanics still work here, but you just got all this new, interesting, fun enemy and the environmental stuff and the event cards and everything else that kind of churns away with this particular environment, which is really just bloody fun, to be honest. So let's have a look. Does it let me go so far? Is there a limit to how much I can see? Let me just do this. Get to that last comment. Wow, they're coming in thick and fast. Hello from Canada. Hello, everybody. Thank you for all those guys saying they're back in and everything. I'm really super pleased with that. Obviously, everybody. Any plans to do a fancy version now that you have a fancy line terrain? I've answered this question many times before, Martin, and I'll answer it very briefly now. Are there plans? Yes. When I designed the fantasy train, did I have a future game in mind so that all that stuff is compatible and sizes fits for treasure chests and all the rest of it, and the cases? Yes. Is it a coincidence there happens to be a portal, a fantasy portal in our line of terrain, which is very similar to the Firstborn Gates of Risa portal? Is that a coincidence? Absolutely not. So yeah, watch this space. The galaxy is a big place, and we're at the standard galactic space. If the galaxy's like this, standard galactic space is this little area down here, and Firstborn are kind of over here. There's lots of other places that probably might not be as far through the technological evolution as we are in standard galactic space, or maybe they're further along and they've gone through this kind of weird cycle. Anyway, we'll worry about that another time. But the answer is yes. There are certainly plans. Go spread the news. Evening, hello, evening. Not CS, only terrain. Kit related. Okay, cool. Have you pursued? Would you ever pursue partnerships with other game producers? Specifically thinking of just how Frostgrave, Rangers of Shadow Deep, Fantasy Line. I'm just going to open up that more. Stargrave. Yeah. Okay. The answer is yes. We've already done it. We've done it with Modiphius. Modiphius are the most fantastic guys ever. You know, so we've done like the Red Rocket thing, a terrain piece that goes along with that. That was incredibly fun. Love to do some more of that. We do get offers, quite a few a month from various companies, both small and surprisingly big. You know, some really big hitters, and really it's just a case of finding the time to dedicate to that. Battle Systems is incredibly busy, so I have to be a little bit more selfish. So yes, we've spoken to many people, and we've got some cool ideas and some things that are on the shelf for now, with some quite big IPs and some smaller IPs and all sorts of great stuff. So but we've got a plan, and we've got to be sensible. If anyone knows Battle Systems, we're very sensible, and we do stuff that we can do, that we're happy to do and can fit in, and we don't promise and under deliver. So and that's the real success for Battle Systems is keeping doing what we can do best, and that's what we're doing. We, like I say, we got this stuff shelved, but it's I'm hoping to be able to fit some of that in. Oh dear, I've done that thing on the laptop where my screen disappears, but I'm back. Oh, let me scroll. You going to kickstart any World War II era sets? There's so many genres, you know, Wild West, World War II, and all sorts of stuff. And some of that stuff is just going to look so good in cardboard. But see my last answer about timings and priorities and making sure that we don't overpromise and underdeliver, and spend more time doing one product right than trying to just get as many. I could do double the amount of products, but the quality for time to put in would suffer. It'd still be a good product, I'm sure, but would it be as good as what we're doing now? No, it wouldn't be, and we only do the stuff the best it can be. So, but yeah, you know, we're going to be around for a long time. Well, I hope anyway. I haven't played Core Space yet, but I'm super excited about backing the Kickstarter. Well, cheers. I still play Core Space every single week, and it's really tough now because I'm trying to play twice, and because I've got my original Core Space, I'm trying to blend the two together. It's just amazing. So you're going to love the Kickstarter when it comes. Absolutely, it's brilliant, man. Have you thought of doing a cyberpunk setting? I'm guessing that is like Dread universe or similar. Yeah, obviously the original Core Space is a cyberpunk, a little bit more futuristic than Dread. I tell you what's really cool. If you've got, I've just bought a big ton of painted miniatures off eBay, some Judge Dredd stuff off a guy that I've bought off before, and it's really cool, and it's really well priced as well. Oh look, I can't remember his name, but I've got some of those, and about 2 months ago I set up a Judge Dredd city kind of scene, and it looked absolutely spot on. And I tell you what I did, I used our Outland set. I'll have to find some time. Someone remind me, find some time to put a picture on Facebook. I used the Outland set, and I built the Judge Dredd stuff out of that, and it just looks amazing. It's a great big multi-level set on a 2x2 mat, and it had like bridges going across, and everything worked really, really well. And then with the painted miniatures, I got the transfers, some of the graffiti transfers. And I just stuck those on the train, the water ones you transfer, and it just looks like an area of Mega City 1. It's brilliant. Had some good fun with that. So great, yes. In the meantime, use that. It's brilliant. Outlands for that is brilliant. I mixed in some cyberpunk course-based stuff for some of the interior stuff as well, which is cool. Okay. So also, can you get some modern vehicle kits from your skilled hands, please? Vehicles are tricky. We did the shuttle. That was kind of our first one into a vehicle. Yeah, I've got some other cool stuff planned. Again, see my previous answer about doing things right at the right time, etc. But I will certainly try. Looking forward to doing at least one that I've got planned, which might be very interesting. You need to make a fancy version of Core Space. You would sell blah 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 fortune da 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 da. Yeah, again, Mark, see my previous answer. It's in the plan. Yeah, and it's not an accident that there is a fantasy portal that looks just like the Gates of Risa. We are planning stuff like 2 and 3 years ahead, so that's all good. Same here. I just tried. Let me have a look. Loving Core Space. Thank you very much. Maurice, that's fantastic. I agree with someone else, which is fantastic. Thank you for agreeing. I have learning disabilities and thinking of doing some cosplay of some of your crews. Would this be okay with you to do? Yeah, man. Yeah. Would it be okay for me for anyone to do some cosplay? Yeah, man. That's I'd be an honour. I'd be great. I'd love to see pictures of someone at a show dressed up as Core Space characters. That's just be amazing. We have had plans in the past that whenever we do shows, to dress up as some of the characters for Core Space, and we just never get round to it because I don't want to do it rubbish. I want to do it well. You know what I mean? I look like a film, like the real stuff. So yeah, I think it's a real. I'd just love to do that. But if you can do it first, that'll make me just as happy. Jack, do it. I see Nick Greenwood's here. For anyone who doesn't know Nick Greenwood, he's probably working on one of our drawings at the moment. He's a guy from the USA. He did all of the final artwork for the original Core Space, so the box art and all the finished character designs. So I sent him my concept drawings, which I'd love to colour up, but just don't have the time, and there is a skill issue there as well. And then Nick basically redraws them, polishes them up, and does all the painting. He's got a real fine touch. So seriously, just go and check this guy out because he's doing all of the stuff for Firstborn as well. All those lovely drawings and all those things we put on the video, and the artwork on a lovely Kickstarter page, which has got pictures of all the character art, certainly. That is Nick Greenwood. The guy's a genius. Go and check him out. Anyone else got fireworks in the background? I've got fireworks in the background, and yeah, it's but it's not too bad. I love the idea of playing Batman with Core Space rules. Man, you can play anything with Core Space rules. This is the beauty of Core Space. If nothing else, you can grab the Core Space rules and port anything into it. We've got our online. In the book it tells you how to generate your own characters, but we've got a great community. One of them's actually made a really cool, and it's on a website. You can link to it, and you can design your own characters. You can have your own. You can have Firefly crew in there. You can have Red Dwarf. You can have all these different people. Anything you want, Batman, blah blah, whatever, really. Just grab some stuff, and once you get into Core Space, if you've got another game, you're like, well, I like this game, but I wanted this more of a skirmish and less of a regular kind of tabletop games, stuff like that, then that's what I do. I've done it with Hellboy, I've done it with Batman, I've done it with Star Wars. Christ, Core Space started as a Star Wars game, many years ago. So it just works perfectly. Let's have a look. Compared to original, is Firstborn essentially a new setting, campaign, NPCs? Just trying to categorise it in my head. John Brown, yes, absolutely. So basically, like I've said, it's all based around the similar mechanics, the same sort of kind of basic physics and rules, as far as the rules are concerned. So if you've played original Core Space, there's almost nothing to learn here, because you can just jump straight in, and all you've got to really understand is the new environment and the new mechanics and things for the Firstborn and all that kind of stuff. So it is literally like you've taken your traders and you've gone over to this new environment, and all of a sudden all this new and interesting stuff happens. So it's weird, because if you've got original Core Space, almost nothing in this box is repeated. We've even changed the range ruler now, so you're not getting duplicates of components. Even the dice have got a marbling on them, so there's kind of like nothing repeated. It's everything in this box is completely new, and so it's still a standalone game, which is brilliant. However, it also works perfectly with the original Core Space. Core Space, I've said many times, is about locations. We started in a cyberpunk kind of galactic standard area, in the Barrens actually, a bit more rundown, nearer the Barrens, a little bit nearer to the black hole, where the Purge are more prevalent. And we're slowly building through these locations, and we've obviously got this huge amount of terrain that can support, and you can do galactic stuff, and you can do Outlands where the gangers are and stuff like that. But this is our very next official kind of location, and we've gone from right near the Barrens, around the black hole where the Purge are, and we've just gone bang straight out as far as we can go to the very tip of the Perseus arm where the Firstborn are. And you've got this, if you look at the way the game is visually designed, the design language, we've got nothing galactic standard there. Everything's slightly unique. Everything, you won't find any bolts or rivets or nuts or anything. It's a completely new location. And a completely new challenge for your crews. So whether you're new to it, you're going to find it challenging anyway, because it's a new game and it's great, and you've got these traders going in. If you're existing Core Space, you can take one of your existing crews if you want in there, or you can start with a rookie crew, or you can take the crew from this game and start it in your original Core Space and just give them a few missions just to get them a bit better equipped, and then go into into Firstborn if you want to go in guns blazing. It's just completely flexible in that respect, which is really cool. Let me just have a look now. What was that piece of scenery you had in the corner of your recent Firstborn video? Well, if you go to the latest update that's just hit, you'll see that actually we've got the Gates of Risa, which is that part, it's like one of the pylons of that, which is around this big portal, this big centerpiece. And it comes with these cracking characters. You've got a load of those. That would look really, really cool. It says a connection available. I think I'm back. Hopefully that wasn't too much of an interruption. I'll let this catch up on this. I'm just going to refresh this live feed here. It says I'm live again, which is good over here. I'm just going to... I don't know if it started another. Let me refresh that. Facebook didn't like you to spoil the minis. Yes, I think that might be what it is. Okay. I'm not getting Battle Systems video now playing. I could try this, see if it does. No, that's not working. Just want to try and get it over here. You're back, thank you, Jason. We didn't see those models. Oh, that's a shame, isn't it? Okay, back live here, brilliant. I'm going to refresh one more time. I've got you here, I can see you live, I can see stuff coming in, but it's minuscule. There we go. So hopefully I'll start to see your comments on here again. Come on, there we go, thank you. Yeah, hopefully that doesn't happen too often. So I just did this. We've seen them in the update. these incredibly huge. Look at the size of these guys, man. Look, they're even bigger if you do that. But these guys, amazing. Okay, let me just move these out of the way. Okay, so let me go back up because there was a question I was answering. In fact, it was, can you, and I don't know if you guys heard the answer, I'll repeat it. Sorry if I'm repeating it, but would you, someone asked if they could get the gates of riser stuff separate because they can see that maybe it would be really good to have a load of these pillars that kind of like, oh, look at that. Load of these pillars that you can do, and obviously you need more than one gate. I don't know. We'll have a look at that. It might make an interesting something. I don't know if we can do that, but we'll find out. Oh, here we go. Lost me. Here, right? Okay. Can I see more comments? Give me the comments. I got the Ruin Monastery set after launch, after hearing about your Paint All the Minis podcast. Oh, that was a lovely podcast. That was. I really enjoyed doing that podcast. I do like to talk, but I've lost that question. Okay, I'm going through it. Thanks for your ongoing support. These quality games, thank you. So you had to repeat yourself on the fantasy question. It's not good enough, Martin. Yes, just another rabid fan here. Yeah, well, I'm massively a fan of this as well. So, and I haven't even played a game this week. Don't have time, sadly, due to running D&D. Or that might be, I don't know if that's a private conversation. Fancy work on everything you think. Yeah, that's great. Have you considered selling 3D STL files for people to buy for course space, to print out, community, blah, blah, blah? No, haven't thought about that particularly. I don't know if that's the thing that we would do, but certainly well noted, David. Thanks for your ongoing support. Yeah. Oh, every time that goes in. Oh, there you go. Sorry you had to repeat yourself. Yeah, that's where I got to. Also, I would love to see a variant, less colourful, greyish of the gates of. Well, if you want a different type of gates of Ria, you can go straight to the web shop, and we've got a fantasy portal there, and that is brilliant, and that's a little bit more traditional in colours, as it were. Any plans post-COVID to do a convention roadshow in Canada, North America? We are looking at America and things like that, but we're just not. We're not there yet. It would have been something we would have looking much more into, but having the last couple of shows cancelled with COVID and everything, we just not really talked about those kind of things. But we are aware that those big shows are there, and it would be good to go over there. So it's definitely on the radar, Martin. Are there more expansions planned for the KS, or are you going to surprise us? Yes and yes. There you go. Andre, that's your answer to that. Yes to both. Can you share any ideas currently floating around for the future CS setting? For want of better words, like Firstborn. There's loads of ideas. We started in the cyberpunk area, galactic, or round the Barrens, should I say. We've nipped off to the other arse end of the galaxy for the Perseus arm. There's lots of space in between. There's loads of space just in Galactic Central, where most of the known current core space galaxies. And I'd like to visit like the real outback where the gangers are, and have that as a major NPC and really kind of grow that kind of area. And similarly with the Galactic Core, a really kind of police, almost military kind of setting would be fantastic. And maybe those two belong together in one game, or maybe and it's a big old galaxy, and of course across the other side of the galaxy we've got some fantasy kind of stuff that might be happening. So there's just so much plans, and it's kind of, here's this bit of the story, here's this bit of the story, here's this bit of the story, and hopefully as we go through we're gonna kind of have this all kind of merge together into the narrative and stuff. Wouldn't that be great? Okay. Yeah. Is the Pledge Plus expansions likely to get much bigger than the current 120? We've got some more stuff coming. We've absolutely got some. If anyone's seen any of our normal, we are, I can't remember, 7 days in? I can't remember. But we're early in, you know, we're in that first third or just past it or whatever. So yeah, there's stuff to come. I'm literally working on stuff, you know, right now. There's stuff just out of reach. Should I show that? I'm not sure if I should show that. What if I did this? I don't know. But there's some stuff that I'm working on. You might be able to persuade me to show you what that is for later. Yeah, so there's more to come. John Brown, there's more to come. Sorry about that. Everything old is new again. Oh, and then it's gone. Everything old is new again. Love that. It isn't just a rebox of prior work. Absolutely not. But, hang on, there's a but. But also carries forward all the prior work. A proper expansion of the game from the... Yeah, that was a goal right from the start. I didn't want just an expansion to the original game. I didn't want to just reskin stuff and, you know, redo stuff. If you've got the original core... I've already said this, but I'll say it again. If you've got the original core space and you're looking at this thinking, well, you know, what's it going to add? It's going to add absolutely everything. Because unless I'm not really thinking about this correctly, I believe I'm right. There's you know, apart from, well, there's kind of no repeats in the box. You're going to get a new rule book. Now, look, some of those rules are going to be the same sort of like standard course-based rules that are tried and tested and absolutely work. And then you've got all the new content, but it's a new book. It's got new photographs. It's got no, you know, so even the rule book is, you know, it's a nice new book to put with your existing one. We've upgraded rulers and things like that now that we've doing well in the campaign. Obviously, all of the miniatures are completely brand new. All of the terrain is completely brand new. The game mat is completely brand new. You're going to get similar dice. Some of the dice are similar, the combat dice. You just need those. But we've even marbled them, so even that's not a repeat. So you're getting this entirely brand new thing that is a standalone game in its own right. If you don't own original core space, fine, you've got this standalone game that is built on the shoulders of that great game. And then you've got, if you have got it, it's a great standalone game that also works with the original one. It's entirely up to you. It is incredibly flexible in that respect. Got them both, fantastic. Got just one, fantastic. Does it matter which one you've got? No. You can start Firstborn and work your way back. You can start original core space and work your way this way. It doesn't make any difference at all. You can't make a wrong choice, basically, which is just brilliant news. That was from Christopher. Thank you all. Ashley, without giving too much away, as I know you can't, or can I? Are there any plans to include new crews, mini expansions, new figures with course-based pledge? Just comparing what ended up on the original KS with what we have now, which I unfortunately missed, but have bought since. Well, I appreciate that. Core set only as of yet. More is some stuff to get yet. If you've got core space only, core set only, some stuff to get. Yeah. Yes, but thank you. Okay. Yes, of course. It's very difficult to compare this campaign with the original core space, apart from the fact that we've got a lot more backers and we're far ahead on our funding at this time in the campaign. If you're going to compare that. We're doing very well. However, what happens is because we're early in the campaign, we still need to fund this stuff that's over here. I don't think that's going to be an issue at all. But it's very difficult to compare because when you look at the old page, you've got this end of campaign list of stuff. Of course, we've got some really cool stuff coming. This is a solo thing, so it's got that one crew in the box. Have we got some more crew that I've got loads of pictures for and Nick Greenwood's doing the artwork for as we speak? Yes, of course I have. Spread the news, get the fun out there, and providing we keep doing this like we normally do, then we'll be able to feed some of that cool goodness out to you. And everybody knows me, I love my traders. So, I've got some cracking stuff on the way. Without giving, that was for Ashley. Your video has paused. Oh, has it? Oh, thank you. That was 10 minutes ago. It says I'm live over here. So, okay, maybe that's still watching. No, that's still watching. That's good. Facebook didn't like you spoil the miniatures. Oh, crikey, I'm catching up. I have got some other questions here from the comments from before. I will ping to those eventually. You're back. Oh, I'm finally catching up with your back. Right, okay, that's why. Meanwhile, we have achieved 14. Oh, brilliant. 14k, 114, sorry. Well done to everybody. So my understanding is, so far, the firstborns are not actually born, but bred in tanks. Well, we're not going to go too much into the lore of that. They're sleeping in tanks, but they'll be more. It's a bit like the Purge. We don't want to just like tell you how everything happens. I know some of the comments we've got is asking how they go to poo and stuff. Yeah, do we know how they go to poo? Yes, of course we do. But some stuff needs to stay a mystery. You know what I mean? I'm not even sure. I still want to know where Yoda comes from properly, but we might find out. Are we going to see any sort of less aggressive warrior-like type of the firstborn characters? Well, the firstborn that you're meeting are a bit insane because of the sleep. It wasn't a dreamless sleep like they expected, but they were already very fanatical before they went to sleep. But they come from a much bigger society, so there are obviously the peaceful side of this as well, and this might be something that we explore later on as we expand the universe. That might even have some fantasy connections, which would be really cool. Oh, there's a lot of questions from Alex. I'm working my way through, Alex. Why are they so angry upon awakening? Well, basically, they've been asleep. They put themselves into this long sleep, and it was supposed to be a dreamless sleep, but it wasn't. So you imagine having being like stuck in your own dream for millennia after millennia. It's just going to drive you mad, and so that's why they're angry. They're not the same. They're not the same firstborn that went to sleep. And if I had a long sleep and woke up and found people going through my drawers, I wouldn't be very happy. So there's that as well, I guess. How can explorers communicate with them besides the weapon fire exchanges? It's quite interesting, actually. There's a short story that Wayne did, which is a cracking little story, and because of their technology, what happens is that when in the story, and I'm going to have to paraphrase, but basically they meet a woken trueborn, I think, and it starts making a noise and communicating directly with them, and the environment, the room, the environment in general, just automatically translates it into the so you kind of got this noise and the room's actually talking to you, and I think it says something like "you are not us," which I guess is them kind of saying like, you're different from us. And when they went to sleep, they were the only intelligent beings in the galaxy. So and then it got a bit grumpy and started charging, and reality shifted, and someone on another ship ended up being someone completely different. Spoiler alert. Okay, so hang on, wait. What do they stand for? How can explorers communicate with them? Okay, Alex, I've answered hopefully most of your questions there. Andre, have you tried using all of the old? Lost that. Have you tried using all of the old and new NPCs in a single game? How many different types? No. We've got loads now. Have I tried everything in one game? No, because I don't want to. I don't want to take a crew turn and then spend half an hour moving up a million NPCs. But in game testing, we've really pushed it. So I played games with 12 civilians. Myself and Drew from Battle Systems as well, now from Battle Systems, we tried putting multiple civilians on and seeing how much it dragged the game down and stuff for NPC movement and stuff like that. You know what? Wasn't too bad. I was quite happy with that, to be fair. I wouldn't put everything in, but do I like to mix the NPCs in? Yeah. The way I play, I tend to have all the event deck, all the cards in the deck. In the current game, I think we've got 52 or something. And I just play the game. I shuffle them up and play the game. And I'll play a game, maybe the Galactic Corps come in, maybe they don't. Maybe we get some gang activity, maybe we don't. And I prefer to play that way because every time I play a game, I really just do not know what's going to happen. And the stories that have come out of that, for me, they're just insane. Absolutely insane. So, let me just go back. Okay. Let's have a look, Keith. I really enjoy Wayne's short stories. Oh, well, I've just blown the end of one of them for you. I'd love to see more narration integrated into the game. Any chance we will see more? Sorry if you answered this before. I don't think I answered it before. The thing about core spaces is that it depends how you're playing it, but often you get your basic mission, and it's kind of, you go in, you need to do this thing, and but the narrative really comes from what then happens. Hopefully you can hear all these fireworks. The narrative really comes from what happens after that. These little scenarios, like I say, a gang might, because of the way I load the deck, the gang might come in, and this thing happens, and then I'm like, well, I'm trying to persuade this gang member to do this, and we have this little side story happen over here, and then there's some gang infighting because that event card comes up, and that's a chance to run to your show. So a lot of the narrative and the story and the fun of that comes from that particular thing, and I just love that idea that the game just writes its own little stories. And then if you're playing campaign based, as you move from one to another, you kind of, especially if you're playing with another player as well, you have this kind of, well, last time you did that, and this particular I'm going to take a shot at that character because they shot me, and you do get this like really nice narrative work together. So I'm really pleased about that. And of course, we'll try and do as many stories to pull that together as we can. I only plans for full-length novel or two. I don't know. We've certainly spoken about audiobooks, and we've spoken about novels, etc. Don't know at the moment. Don't know. Very flexible system, fabulous, blah, 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 blah. Thank you. More vehicles, please, of course. Planetary surface transport, personal vehicles, industries, etc. Fire style, mule for, oh, that would be good, wouldn't it? Yeah. Are there any plans for a full length? We did that one. Which is your favourite trader crew and why? I don't play. I mean, obviously I have done one game testing, of course, but I don't have a favourite crew. But I have some favourite characters. You'll probably notice on the little video I did on this Kickstarter, I keep calling Cassie Ariana. You're going to guess that my favourite captain is Ariana. I tend to like Tommen, and I go with Pye and Hoskins. So that would be my go-to crew. Ariana, Tommen, because Tommen's almost like a captain, because he has to be, because he's stuck with Weaver, who's a big baby. Sorry, not Weaver. He's stuck with Tilak, who's a big baby, and then I got Hoskins, who's completely mad as a box of frogs, which is just perfect for me. And Pye, who is just brilliant. I just love Pye. It's a fantastic miniature, and I just love the character, and I love he's got a robot arm, and he's just a bit like, woo! He's tried to augment himself, and obviously there's a little bit of a twitchy stuff going on there, which is all good fun. Get on with Hoskins, certainly. Could you? That was for Terry. That's you, Terry. Could you have more than one rockworm in a game? Yes, of course you could have more than one rockworm in a game. Cough. Stay on the site. Stay with us. Stay with us. Okay. What's the point of having one rockworm? I mean, come on. Okay. Like the model. Just wondering if you're. Yeah. Edward. Yes. Of course we want another rockworm. Can core space starter being played? Can the core space starter being played co-op solo? Now we have the Firstborn. There's lots of different ways to play core space, and obviously if you've got one crew, you can play it solo. If there's two of you, you can pick two characters each and say, right, I'm going to be the captain in this one, and you can be that one, blah, blah. Or you could have three characters and one person play the captain and have to sort of guide the others. You kind of do that, and then you've got this kind of co-op thing going on. Of course, if you've got existing core space, you can add a second crew in and immediately do player versus player at the same time. And in addition to that, you've got if there's two of you, what you can do, and this is really cool. Is that one can play the crew and the other one can play the Firstborn. So you can absolutely just then move them around like NPCs, and that way you become almost like a game master, and it just makes the person playing the crew that kind of little bit more, feel more like the crew because they're not moving the NPCs. Or you can actually take control of the Firstborn and say, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to control what they do with their actions. So you've then got that against them. Now, if you're going to play it that way, I would suggest the best thing to do is to not control the drones. So let the drones move via the rules, the NPC rules, because they're AI anyway. They're going to kind of be controlled, thematically AI. They're going to be controlled by the environment and computers and the technology, should I say, not computers, the technology of the Firstborn. So all you're going to control is rank 2 and up, which is the Liege and the Iconoclast and the Trueborn, and Sentinels and things like that, or maybe you want them as NPCs. But let the AI control that, and then that way you're almost got like, it feels realistic to me because you've got these Trueborn who you've got Firstborn you've got complete control over, and then you've still got this kind of the pawns, the drones of your own side, kind of maybe not doing everything you want them to do. Playing like that is really good fun as well. It's entirely, this is the beauty of it. You can play it how you want. So I would definitely suggest doing it that way. It's bloody good fun. Okay, let's have a look. Will you release a new deluxe rulebook with Firstborn? I don't know. I don't know what we're doing and how we're doing it with the Firstborn. But the rulebook's always going to be great. Not a big sort of deluxe hardbacky kind of thing like we had before. But yeah, literally everything you need. The original one's got all those advanced rules and all that cool stuff in it anyway. And all of that stuff still stands. It absolutely still stands. So we don't want to kind of trump that book in any kind of way. That's probably not a good word at the moment, but we don't want to bypass that in any way. Cole, you trimmed your nails. Come on, Jeff. Did I? What have I got? Yeah, well, here, but I've still got these ones here. So, as we got Rogue Purge, excuse me, are we going to something like that with the Firstborn? I have no idea. There are no plans at the moment, but there was no plans for Rogue Purge. No Rogue Purge plans when we did Core Space. Although we have got some really good ideas and some concepts already and stuff for some great follow-up mid-year kind of expansion stuff for Core Space. Oh God, I'm excited about that. Some of the things that people have asked for before that might not quite get into here, we have absolutely got planned, and it's some absolute favourites, I promise you, so that'll be really cool. Watch out for that stuff. Not sure if I missed something. With all the new foes and the explanation, be drawn via event. Will the new foes in the expansion be drawn via event deck or set mission threat tracks? Okay, it's the new NPC. They come in the same as before via the hostility tracker. They can be triggered by event cards as well earlier, and they so imagine it similar to Firstborn in the basic mechanics of the hostility tracker and the event cards, and of course they've got all their new skills, their knowledge dice they roll and all that kind of stuff, which is really cool. So what happens when Purge find themselves around the Firstborn? We're going to mix and match. Okay, well, first of all, you let the AI mechanic of the game tell you what happens, and it'll write its own story, which is really good. And I'm not going to say anything else about Firstborn and Purge and any possible connections or non-connections thereon. Can we get a galactic map in the rulebook? I tried to get one in the first one. It might happen. If I can do it, we're going to get one in this one. There's something very, very, very important about a galactic map, and as we know, Mr. Jardine, I am working on one measured in kiloparsecs, because I measured it in parsecs and it was ridiculous. So yeah. Okay, so that's not a problem. Yeah, we measured it in kiloparsecs, which I think the travel we've got now, Voyager 1, which travels at whatever it is, it would take 17,000 something hundred years to get across the doodah. So luckily Core Space can travel a little bit faster, hence the name. Maybe a sketchy one. No, sketchy. We'll do a proper one. If we can get it in there, it'll be a proper one. We'll do it properly. Oh, I see. Maybe a sketchy one that Cassie has drawn up in her travels. I see where you're going with that. They're kind of like from the notepad of Cassie. From Cassie's notebook. Tablet. I don't know. Can you share the official gameplay rule for using the grid instead of rulers? I think that will help people ease out. Okay. Well, if you watch the video, Alvin, if you watch the video, I'm actually using the grid system. I'm literally just counting the squares. So that's why we put that specifically in there. I actually play course based by squares now. So the only time I actually use the range ruler, which is I haven't got it here, but is really when I'm measuring range. Now, most of the time, because of the way the environment is set up on your board, it's very easy to tell if you're in medium range. So really, I'm only really ever measuring short range. And I even cut down one of my rulers just so that I can just drop it in, which is why we've got these new upgraded rulers on the Firstborn thing. And I just drop that in because short range is like, am I in short range or am I not? And if you're not in short range, you're almost always in medium range. Sometimes I've got this really long range, like, oh, I better measure it just in case. So I'm using squares and I'm using the little short range ruler as well. That's how I play. It's just quick and easy. It's fantastic. Are we getting, Sean, are we getting full-size shuttles where you can raid each other's ships? I will pay any amounts. I can imagine a very high amount if you say any amounts. I don't know is the answer, but I can absolutely tell you categorically right now that I have a design for a ship. Wi-Fi off, let's do that. That might help me connect. The connection is available. Way, there we go. Okay, excuse me. Let me have a look at this. Sorry for the interruption. I'm just looking to see if I can see a picture of my spaceship design of a thing. It might be in this untitled one. That's not it. It might be in this playtesting notes. Wouldn't be in there, would it? Light freighter design. That sounds like something. Okay, let me I don't know if this is gonna. No, it's not gonna work this way. I'm gonna try and hold this up. The little purple thing you see is the picture of a man, like a figure kind of size. And we've got a kind of a. We've got you can kind of see a side sort of thing like that. We've got a kind of a. I'm not sure if I'm going to do this without. We've got a kind of a storage hold area here, recreational area on the other side. There's a cockpit here. There's an engine room, and there's a little place. There's a place for someone to have a bunk, a little like room, and some other bits and pieces. So yeah, I've got there's stuff that I've got design after design after design, yeah. So. I love all of that kind of stuff. Yeah, very interesting. Okay, but that's not, I'm not going to be able to pull that together on this KS. I would have loved to, but not. But it doesn't mean that we don't. Anyone that knows Battle Systems now knows that even though we're an incredibly small company still, we all work from home. We do self-fund stuff as well. So, we did that with the engineering sector, the Gothic ruins, and of course, all of the Dangerous Day stuff we self-funded straight off away from Kickstarter. So, you won't have to wait till the next iteration of Core Space to get something like that. Hopefully, no promises, but yeah, I love it. So we'll see what happens. Got to make sure it works. Okay, let me go back. Where did I get to? Oh, it's not going to let me go back too far. I'm going to go. I might be missing some stuff here. It's only showing me a certain amount of comments, so I don't know where I got to. Okay. When is Core Space going to be a TV show? That'd be great, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that be great? TV show. That'd be it. Core Space becomes a TV show. That'd be it. I'll just fall over. I'll be like, that's it. I can die now. I'm done. Could you maybe explain a little bit more in detail how the news cruise billings work? Okay, so the news crew. I'm still developing the rules for the news crew and the prospectors and stuff like that. But ultimately, the news crew is interacting with your crew. They will come in. They're after a news story, so they're independent. They have their own AI, and they will move around like civilians. So very much like civilians, they might run, fight, and do whatever. But the whole time they'll probably be accumulating kind of footage. So there might be some value in the footage of their recording equipment, and obviously there's great ideas there to be able to have missions where you're going with the news crew or going to rescue a news crew. We've got all of that cool stuff going on, but we've also got some stuff coming to do with reputation as well, reputation of your crew and how that affects the AI of the board and stuff like that. If your reputation is very, very low when it comes to things like galactic core and stuff like that, they're more likely to attack you because your reputation is low. But maybe the gangers will be less likely to attack you and have a go at another crew whose reputation is higher. And the news crew will affect the reputation as well. So if you're caught on camera, shooting a Firstborn down or whatever like that, then that's going to add to that stuff. And there's more on that kind of mechanic coming in. The miners, as everyone, hopefully people are aware that you're mining. In this, you can search a room, but you can also mine a room as well. So you can walk into a room and you can mine from that wall. But once it's been mined, that wall, that room is considered to be mined. Can't be mined again. So these miners are going to be a bit of a pain because they're going to come in and start mining the rooms before you get to it. But you might be able to persuade them. They might even hire you to do stuff and so on and so forth. So we've got, very similar to the civilians, they've got, I guess it's a little bit more like the worker civilians from Shift Change at Megacorps, is in the fact that they're kind of there for a reason. They've got a job to do, but they're also civilians as far as you're concerned. You might argue that your traders are civilians, really. Movie or anime, yeah, any of that be good. Totally imagining the opening of the Starship Troopers film now. I just love that film now. First one anyway. Love that film. Watched it recently. Just so much fun. Another request. Animals, pets. I like to add some randomness into the crew life. Captain Spaceship. Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, watch this space for at least one of those. And maybe our mid-year thing will just really just explore that a little bit more. Okay. I play Core Space with my daughter. Excellent, well done, David. And we only play co-op. I do like a good co-op game. So would be taking a crew each, starting out in Firstborn. Will it be unbalanced? No, absolutely not. You will not have balance problems with if you want to go in with two crews and play co-op. Will it be slightly easier if you're playing co-op together? Yeah, but the game you'll be able to stay in there a little bit longer than maybe a rookie crew would if you take in two rookie crews. You'll be able to stay in there a little bit longer, which is great because there's more for you to fight back. However, the contents are then split between you, so you can stay in the game longer, but you've then got to share the rewards. So it immediately balances itself like that. And of course, with the two crews, you've got this great narrative. And before before anyone asks, of course, there's only one crew in this box at the moment. Just hang around. We're gonna have some fun. Okay. So no, there's really not going to be. Later on, if you want to put two mats together and you want bigger environments and stuff like that, you can balance that with a little boost of a few NPCs that we'll have available and stuff, and that won't be a problem either. Just like original Core Space, which is good. That was David. Brad. I love your Frontier set. I've had it for years. But what's your favourite feature to that set, and how would you expand it upwards, but doing so on a tight budget? Right, I got you. Brad. Yeah, Frontier's a cracking set. Great for Core Space, or any of your games really. Love the elevators. I think things like the engineering sector and stuff like that make great objective points. With a Frontier set, depends how big you want to play, but with a Frontier set, you know, there's always that thing where you're like, well, I'll take a game mat and I'll spread it out a little bit more, but then I want a bit more frontier, and then I want a bit more, you know. So I would often take another frontier set and use that to just give me ultimate. I won't use it all the time, but it just gives me ultimate flexibility. So I can have one huge tower over here and sort of lower over here and stuff like that. I particularly like using the elevators to get around on the frontier. Of course, Galactic is the same as well. There's so much cool stuff. Detention cells add loads of thematic stuff to it. And then you've got all the cool kind of zombie kind of stuff that comes along with the the medical lab, you know. And then you've got the shuttle bay. I can't decide. I just can't decide. You should definitely go with what you feel is right. Do what feels right. Okay. Can we make the plastic rulers optional buy-ins as well? I have no idea. I'm not. That way we don't have to pass them around the table. I've got to think about passing rulers around at the table. I'd say just pledge twice. That's what I say. No, don't do that just for a ruler. But I would. I don't know what the plan is. I know in the original Kickstarter we ended up with 2 rulers in the set anyways because we gave so much away. That's because they were part of the card sheets, whereas now they're a separate thing. So I don't think that's necessarily a thing. But I don't actually know the answer to that. I don't know how easy that would be. So I better be careful. Okay. Can we make plastic? No. Interrupted again. Was we? Oh, right. I'm 10 minutes behind. What? Right. My question. Right on my question about shuttles. Yes. So I think I'm catching up, although I'm obviously still behind. Video got interrupted. Great time to pull the design. You're back. Need that. Right. So I guess we're getting reactions about the shuttle now. Need the concept sketch. It looks amazing. Getting Falcon vibe from the design. I just like round ships. Agree. Stop. Still wait. Oh, it keeps jumping. Still waiting for my core. Still waiting my core space galactic space map for campaigns. Yes, I know. I don't want to start a whole conversation here, but we had the little spaceship game that we were playing as well, which was really good fun. Little spaceships and crew management and worker placement. It was brilliant. I realised that this is mainly about Firstborn, which does look great, but would be interested in know about plans, time frame for fantasy-based game. Yeah, Martin Stokes, that was at the beginning of the video, right at the very beginning of the video, but yes, I want to know that as well, because, I mean, we've got sketches and drawings and ideas and and we've already made the portal, which obviously is, the same as the portal you've just seen on the Kickstarter. So that is incredibly good fun because they're clearly connected, so here we go. Will there be multiple level terrains in Firstborn? There's no plan to put anything majorly multi-level at the moment, same as the original core space. I want to keep it simple, want to keep it quick to set up, simple to set up, straight out of the box. Will there be stuff that does stuff for later on with towers and things like that? I don't know. That'd be cool, wouldn't it? So we'll have to wait and see. You could argue these are multi-level. You could hang someone off the top of there or something. These are great. Look at this. Look at the size of this. If anyone has not seen the portal before, look at the size of that. Whoops, put your guy in there. I kind of have to do it at an angle because my camera's at an angle. Look at that. The sheer gravitas of the arrival, is just amazing. I mean, the Sentinels are massive. The Tallow are massive. Look at the size of them, and even they can easily get in there. Love that stuff. So, how big are these pillars compared to that? Well, the Sentinels, get down there, down, boy. Stay there. Hang on. Yeah, these are pretty big. Let's get our little guy in here. Oh, hello. Multi-level. There you go. What are we looking at? Have you considered... Oh, we're still live over here. I paused over here, but that's fine. Have you considered making it possible to level up characters higher than it is possible now? Something like advanced classes. Ooh, that's exciting. Have I considered it? Absolutely. Have I got a crew to their maximum thing and thought, oh, where do I go from here? Yes. Interestingly, I feel like my crew still develops past that point because they develop with equipment. If you've got a crew which is maxed out right now, you could take them into a Firstborn environment and they will still have a challenge. They will progress much faster, but they will start to advance because tactically you'll get better at fighting different types of foes, so you're becoming a more experienced player. But also, they will start advancing with their equipment and stuff. But of course, have I thought about how to advance them with like some kind of almost like bolt-on type thing? Yeah, of course. No plans for this to be... It's not far enough along that you'll see it in this particular Kickstarter. But yeah, there's all sorts of crazy stuff that we've done. Have you considered making... Any chance we will get an option for resin miniatures as an add-on? There's no plans for that, Adam, at the moment. Just because of all the manufacturing and the lots of complex tooling type stuff and how that works and where they're done versus where these are done, and so it is kind of tricky in that respect. I'm just going to refresh this video so I can get onto the next bunch of comments. While I do that, I better just see if I can handle a comment from the people that couldn't make the live feed. So I have got, where did that go? Which one is that? And it must be in this one. There we go. What comments have I got in here? Here we go. Let me just pick a few of these at random. In the future, is your priority focused on more core space expansion first, or will you prioritise game development with a fancy trend? I don't know, probably everything at the same time, to be fair. The business is always in flux depending upon you guys, really. What people are playing, what they're interested in, and what people are wanting, a bit like on the Kickstarter, So, we're launching this now, but we originally were going to launch something else, and it was clear that no, everybody wants this. So first, and so that's what we did. So it's difficult to say which and what is going to come next. And I've got some ideas, but I wouldn't want to say because I wouldn't want to disappoint people by saying one thing and not. We're just not close enough for me to sneak peek things and stuff. So, and we've got some crazy questions here. Trading Post 5 sounds... Oh, no, actually, Trading Post 5 sounds like the place to be if you want to be on the forefront of discoveries. So why is it not swamped by governmental agencies to claim their stuff? Okay, well, obviously, Trading Post 5 is... you can't see that yet, can you? Got a thing over here. But there might be at least a person hanging around in there, kind of as a bit of a spy to see what's going on in there. It's more a case of like monitor what's going on rather than, if you just rush in and barge in and like, hey, here's my badge, blah, 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 you'll shut it down. You'll stop all the cool stuff. So it's more a case of, no, let's just watch and, do it that way. Let it progress and maybe we can benefit from that. I can't see who these questions were from, sorry, but yeah, just it'll be fine. Trading Post 5 is very sort of like bolted together. It's a movable thing, as well. So it's kind of like, right, they're set up over here. Let's go. Oh, they're gone. Why are they not there? They seem to be. There's a movement thing going on with that. What do the Firstborn eat for breakfast? Here we go. There's some crazy questions here. We've probably got answers to almost all of this. Where do they go to toilet? Well, you know what, they have they're masters of time and stuff, so they split the fabric of time, so they just phase their poos away. That's what I'm going to say. Also, where do humans go to toilet in? Where they go to toilet? Where do the humans in core space go when they feel the need? They have to purchase the urban apocalypse police station in order to get the toilets that come in that set, and then you can use them in core space. That's where they go, because we've got the little core space toilet side, haven't we? You have to go over there to get the police set. What about core space expansions? Yeah, we've got some crazy expansions coming, but I have already answered that. Is there any more terrain-based? And are these more terrain-based or miniature-based? We've got some terrain-based ideas, definitely. We've got some core space miniature ideas as well. So there you go. That's cool. I need to go back to Facebook so I can see my questions. Facebook, the page failed to open. Let me refresh this and watch it spring to life for me. Oh, there you go. Let's see where I got to. Bum, bum, bum. Any chance we will get an we've done that one. So back to the long white box model I did. There was like is that what you got from it? Long white box. Well, that's it. It's just long white box. So there's no need really to show you anything. I don't know if I'm allowed to show. It's very early work, you see. I don't know if I should show you what we've got. Maybe if I could do a little kind of. It's got a little. Anyway, that's none of that. It's just a white model, just a pencil sketch, just chuck some stuff together. No artwork on it. I apologise for the crudity, etc. But it's interesting to see what just kicking around on my desk. So, anyway, your enthusiasm is great, and you really caught the spirit. Okay, yeah, Mega City 1, etc. Yeah, looking forward to buying more and enjoying the campaign. Well, Ashley, thanks a lot, mate. Well, we just love what we do, so we make the stuff that we love. Oh, the white box looks exciting. That seems like a strange comment, but it's I know what you mean. Cool. Yes. So I've caught up. I think I've missed a big bunch of questions, but for some reason I can't kind of scroll back. So that's the difficulty. Is it won't let me expand this, which is a bit odd. Whoops, let me scroll this down, see if I can do that. No, that's not working. Got this weird little window. Okay, cool. What is your favourite new mechanic in Firstborn? I can't just say the one. So I'm going to pick a couple of favourites. A few. I love the fact that the drones are spawning on patrol points directly into the board, but you've still got the entry points for all the other NPCs around the outside. I love that because if you're used to playing core space, it kind of shakes things up a little bit. I also love the fact that you've got this whole stealth element to it, which I always played in core space anyway. So with Galactic Core or Gangers or whatever, I used to have missions started where they're on the board almost like on patrol. And then I'd use that mechanic, and that's where that mechanic basically come from, which is perfect for patrolling drones. So I love that stealth aspect because it gives you time to kind of stay out of the firefight if you're smart. Okay, so I love that. I absolutely adore the knowledge dice. Obviously, I play a lot of core space. And myself and Drew Drabaka, part of Battle Systems now, we tend to kind of almost play core space a little bit chess-like sometimes, just so we can survive, to be fair. We have fun and it gets really bad and we sit there talking about how we're going to get out of it. With original core space, because you know exactly what the AI are going to do, of course you've got event cards and all sorts of things that are going to throw the spanner in the works anyway, but you can kind of do your best to predict and survive. With the Firstborn, the knowledge dice kind of throws out the window, because every attack, in core space, you'll be like, right, I'll get there, I've got enough health. The worst damage that purge can do, if they maximum roll, is get me to this, but then I'll have another turn to run. And you're like, and I'll make it to my ship, even if I'm only on 1 health. You know you're going to make it. And then what happens with the Firstborn is you take that attack, they get a powerful attack, but they also warp you. So you're picked up and you're thrown in the opposite direction and you're lane prone. So now you're not within reach of your airlock and you are also prone, so it's going to take an action to stand up. And you've got the power of the attack as well, so you have to rethink it out. Or you'll get a fear token. They'll create fear and get a fear token added to you. And your captain's too near to the ship and you're too far away, and so you run in the opposite direction. You're like, oh Jesus, come on, you know. Wade ends up running off in the opposite direction and you like can't leave the sorry bastard behind, and so you just got to go and get him. I really love the knowledge dice as well. That adds that real cool mechanic to it. So I would say, if I had to pick, I would say it's the stealth, the whole drone stealth thing, and the fact that they will move to negate your cover as well is cool. And the knowledge dice. Those are the things that I'm really having a lot of fun with. And they add something new to core space as well. And I think that's a really refreshing little twist. And the fact that you're rolling those dice with your combat dice, it's a really nice mechanic. So when the Firstborn roll, you just grab the extra dice in your hand, the dice, and you roll. So it's not slowing the game down. You glance down, you see the hits, you see the effect, bang, and you do it. So it keeps core space moving really, really quickly. And that's always my my focus on core space, is to get all the story happens naturally through the way the game plays. And all of the kind of RPG stuff happens between games, so it doesn't really slow you down, your development, your characters and stuff. But it all works while you're playing the game. And the way the dice rolls, the way you can look down at your character's board and see the weapon skill. You can see the dice you need to roll at a glance. You don't have to be messing about with modifiers or anything like that. You look down, you grab your dice at the same time, you roll your dice, and by the time you looked up, your dice are rolled, you've got the effect. It's bang, 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 it's really fast. And the knowledge dice works in that same way. There's not additional rolls, you just happen to have an extra dice in your hand, which you immediately see the effect of. So I absolutely love that as well. Yeah, quite passionate about the knowledge dice, which is why we've got these 2 new cool ones that come specifically for our Sentinels. Oh God, I keep saying that. I'm going to have to pay a commission or something. With our tallow and our lovely beastie things. So we've and they've got their own special dice, and we've got things like fire damage. Anyone who's got the Dangerous Day campaign knows how fire damage works, and poison as well. Really, 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 really cool. Yeah, anything knowledge dice is definitely floating my boat at the moment. Let me go back. Do you know a place? Going back. What is your favourite mechanic? Wow, that was a long answer. I apologise. Do you see the future terrain going more towards bespoke things like the Fantasy had, or leaning toward more modular? A bit of both, really. I really like the bespoke stuff. A bit like the shuttle and the container store kind of thing going on over here. That is really, really cool. It's it means that you're going to get a much more aesthetic straight into the particular construction. And I think it depends on what you're doing. If you're doing something like a shuttle or what I've got going on over here, you kind of want to bespoke it, because a modular shuttle is never going to really look that good. Unless you're doing a spaceship, in which case you can use walls. if you're doing a terrain set, especially in the course-based fashion where you've got inside of an office block or inside of a whatever, then you're going to want the modularity because it doesn't really affect the aesthetic that much. So the fantasy needed that more bespoke line because the buildings needed to be smaller, and I could have made them more modular, but you would have lost the aesthetic. You would have lost the nice shape to the roofs. You would have lost the various different sizes of the upper levels and things. But I promise you that when I put something together, as I design it, I will know whether it needs to be more bespoke or whether it needs to be more modular, and I'll make sure it serves the product perfectly. So I wouldn't worry about that. But I would, I've enjoyed the fantasy in the fact that we've got these bespoke buildings, because you really do just get something that everybody just kind of is amazed what it's made out of when they see it. Even at the shows, they're just like gobsmacked when we kind of like take it apart and show them, and then they see the inside and then they're like, my God. So brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Do you know of a place where I can sell one of my kidneys to buy your terrain? I don't. I'm not quite that dodgy, to be fair, but I'm sure there's places. I'd rather you not. Yeah. What are the chances of multi-level terrain for the asteroid? Okay, we kind of answered this earlier on, or I answered this question. I'm thinking of like a Hobbit movie where they are running through the tunnels, the Goblin Viking. Oh, okay, that's pretty cool. Yeah, of course, yeah. So answered that already, but it's not gonna. There's no plans for it, right? Multi-level right now, but we'll see what happens. But is there any chance of resin? Have I answered these questions? Any chance of resin CS editions? Nothing. We're not doing any. No plans of the resin stuff right now. Whether that happens between hand on expansion stuff or whatever, I don't know. But probably all plastic, I think. But we don't. Yeah, nothing on this Kickstarter for resin is the decision that we made at the moment. So obviously everything you've seen is absolute plastic. Let me just make that clear for everyone. This is just like original course base. It's all assembled straight out of the box, straight, lovely detail, boom, ready to go. The resin conversation is an ongoing conversation. So, but we're talking about resins in general and where it belongs in battle systems. Any chance we'll get a crossover scenario that will have Purge and Firstborn? Yeah, some sort of hybrid mission, definitely. I don't see any reason why not. It's got to happen, isn't it? It's got to happen. Maybe the Purge are rogue Firstborn drones, which have... Oh, careful. Okay, so will you consider doing some floor tiles for the Firstborn terrain so we can build multi-level stuff? I don't know. Yeah, multi-level again. I don't know. Maybe. It's not the plan right now, but it doesn't mean it won't happen. Do the Firstborn take prisoners? No, but the great thing about not in the AI at the moment, but the great thing about core space is that you've got, like I've said before, you've got this core mechanic of their MP mechanic and the physics of the game. I call the rule book like the physics of the real world sort of thing, and then it's the missions that allow you to kind of adapt or change something. So you could write a mission whereby when a trader is defeated, the nearest liege or whatever makes base contact and they phase and take them to a cell or whatever. So when you want to kind of move away and add a little bit of colour to a rule or something like that, you can do that via the missions. And that's the great thing about the missions, is the fact that you can then, rather than make a really effective mechanically sound set of rules, complex with all these different options, you use the missions to kind of add colour, and that's where one of the areas where core space really shines, in the fact that you can, we've had many discussions before. It's like, oh, would it be good if we could have this mechanic and that mechanic? It was like, well, we can. We'll just flavour that into a mission, and that's pretty cool. Is it possible to play a game of Firstborn and not be spotted by the drones? Yes, it absolutely is. As in a full stealth run. Yes, it is. I've had a mixed bag with mine. So I've played it. You can imagine how many times I have played Firstborn. It's just crazy. And yeah, when I first started playing, I'm sure it's going to happen with you, I was getting caught out pretty quickly. Within a couple of rounds, I was like, oh, why didn't I? You just don't think, and you get caught out. As I progressed through many games, I developed my skill. Apart from your career and everything on the thing, you actually develop your own skill, and your traders benefit from your knowledge of playing the game. You get better at it, and you get better at stealth. And I really do feel, even though it's me getting better at the game, I kind of feel like it's the crew getting better at the game, because I'm with the 3D environment, everything like that. I'm completely immersed in it. So you get better at it. And yes, I can get all the way through without alerting the drones at all, which gives me a good search thing. But there's no perfect way to play it and have that happen, because you will also get event cards that will just go, drone spawns at a random point, and you've planned all the drone movements, and you've got into this behind this strut, and you've done everything you needed to do, and then a drone literally drops into the room with all your traders, and they're all hiding behind crates. And I've even got ones that I've used the effortless action rule to go prone, and I'm literally invisible, and the drone comes down behind me, and now I'm on the floor. It's going to take an action for me to get up, and the drone's kind of firing at me, and of course the board comes alive and everything closes in. So yes, it is absolutely possible to get through the whole stealth thing. Will you get it the first time? Maybe not. I do remember very fondly that when Core Space first went out, and people started playing it, it was brilliant, because people were going in and playing like maybe they might play another game, like, whether it be, well, I'm not going to name names, but they'd go in with their normal play style, and they'd be like, yeah, guns blazing, and within no time, a couple of devastators would spawn, or something would happen, and boom, it's like, wow, I'm 2 rounds in and my crew are dead. And then you adapt your play style, and what you need to do, and it's the same for the Firstborn, is you need to treat your crew as if I gave you a gun and some of your mates, and you just went into a real environment. You wouldn't go in there, well, guns blazing. You'd dive behind the first cargo crate, and you'd be like, "Ooh, what's going on?" You're like, "Oh, get it," and you'd really get into it. And that's how you need to play Core Space, because you feel more like you're the guys doing it. And yeah, I love the fact that after a while, people are like, well, yeah, it's about knowing when to run. It's about knowing how to use cover. And when you're playing Core Space, you're like, I think I might just make one more round, and then I'm going to get back to my ship. It's like, at that point, that's the time to say, no, you don't want to play one more round. You want to get back, because there's too many things that can go wrong. And the difference between one or two turns staying too long is the difference between you losing, a crew member. And if you've got, I don't know if you're like me when you play, but if you've got a crew that's been through multiple missions, you lose a crew member, waterworks me, so I just really need to get that crew member back out. And there's no guarantee you're going to be able to get them on a rescue mission or teleport them out, so it does make a big difference, a really big difference. Okay. How many... was there a second part of that question? No. How many worms could appear? Well, in my games that I play, I've had 2 worms on the go at the same time, blocking 2 corridors, and I'm stuck in between with no ammo, and I end up just running past them, which is hilarious. Yeah, I think we're going to make sure that you'll have another one. Will more worms be available as an add-on? Keeping up the great work. Will there be anything like secret tunnels, etc., for stealth, or places to hide surprise attacks? You can always hide behind the arcs, and the sleep chambers are brilliant for hiding behind. They're much bigger than a cargo crate, and they are particularly good I have got some little sub-rules for targeting them and exploding and stuff, but we'll see how simple we make that mechanically. But yeah, I don't know if you noticed, but there are two little half walls. I don't know why I'm doing this. Two little half walls, and those have got a door, but it's got no kind of fancy frame or filigree around it or whatever. It literally is just a rock with a cutout in it. They're basically secret doors, so we're gonna have some fun with that. So it might be that currently I've got it that the Trueborn can use them to get to you quicker, but you can't get through them. They stay in place, but there is an item you can find which has got the little key symbol on it, which is one of the items a bit like from the Dangerous Days expansions. And that will allow you to use those secret entrances. That's what we've got at the moment anyway, and that is quite fun. Yeah, and you've always got the worm holes, haven't you? The worm tunnels. There might be some. I'm sure we could do something fun with that. Even if this is a perfect example, maybe the wormhole, being able to go down the wormholes is not the core mechanic of the game, because it gives you too many avenues to do a thing that we don't want you to do. We want you to have fun with the game. We don't want to give you anything that's going to spoil any fun. But that is the perfect place maybe to put that into a mission where you have to go down the wormholes. That's hilarious. That would be great fun. So please, no more resin. Okay, so both as an option. Yeah, okay, so we've got a resin debate. Plastic versus resin. I'm going to stay out of this one. Resin or plastic. Obviously, just to be clear, everything on here is plastic. Obviously, it's all one assembled straight out of the box. Everything's good, you know. Love the explanation. Cheers, bud. Oh, that's okay. Yeah, like you said, I did get attached to my crew a lot. Yeah, I do. I get attached to my crew. For instance, when she's kind of bad. Yeah, I do get very attached to my crew members. And actually, when I eventually retire a crew, which I do, I kind of almost tell a story to myself of what they did and where off they went. What I like to do is, when I got a crew and I've really maxed it out, and I'm kind of like, normally by that time I'm like, I want to try some new characters and I want to try some new stuff and probably switch up my classes and stuff. So I start a new crew. What I do, I'll have a mission where I will introduce one of my old crew members with all their stuff, and if I can get to them and I can then take control of that crew member for one mission, and it's kind of like a cameo. Do you know what I mean? So I'll like, you know, Tom and I be in a bar, and if I can and everything, and I get to control Tom, and just for the rest of that mission, and I kind of have that nice relationship. It's like and he almost becomes the captain because of how far ahead he is of my rookie crew. He almost becomes the captain for that crew, and he really kind of sees them to safety. And often will stay behind, and thematically in my head he kind of makes it off somewhere else or does whatever. So there are some really cool things that you can do with the Firstborn when it comes to stuff like that. With crews when it comes to stuff like that and missions, and you'll be, of course, do the same thing with the Firstborn. Really, really cool. Does the new crew in Firstborn have new skills we haven't seen before? Yeah, I just spoke about that. Have a look at if you go onto the Kickstarter page, one of the little links is to the rules. Don't be scared of that link. It's only 11 pages because it's just showing you the new stuff. Everything else is based on that real powerful mechanic of the original core space kind of rule set. But it does show you the skills that they've got, you know, everything from stealth, and of course those really cool purple knowledge dice, which we've also got a grey and a kind of a brown one for these guys as well. So that is really and for everything I've already said in the video, that really does just shake things up a bit, and it's just bloody fun. It's just bloody fun. Wow, such a good idea. I don't know what that was, but thank you. Oh my God, I'm up to date. I'm up to date with the questions. How about that? I feel like I should have more stuff to show you around here. I feel like I should have... I hope everybody's liking the Gates of Ria. Does everyone like the Gates of Ria? Gates of Ria, Gates of Ria. I'm really enjoying these. I couldn't wait to get this out on the... I have so much, even way back to original core space and stuff with the portals and things. There's something that's very special about getting one of these gates on your table, and linking missions together where you go through the gate. And we've done some crazy stuff. One of the favourite missions we did, and basically I had to game test when we did the fantasy terrain. I had to game test the fantasy terrain. It has to be game tested, obviously, and but I also want to play core space, so we game tested it with core space, and we played a game of core space, standard core space in a cyberpunk setting. And then we finished by going for a portal. And the portal took us then to the fantasy terrain, and we had some bespoke missions we put together. And so instead of being transported from one location to the next, what actually happened was something went wrong and they got transported back in time. So myself and Drew had the mission, and we ended up, I can't remember how many games we played. I think we played 2 or 3 really solid games where we came out the portal and we was using all the fantasy buildings that were being developed on on last year's Kickstarter, and we were literally gaming through those buildings, and it was really good because obviously we're testing the buildings, how easy it is to lift off, and maybe we can make the furniture sit into the wall so it's easier when you're lifting off, and all the cool stuff that happened. But we had these great big and we had at one point we had the traders in a little rowboat, and we're going down the river trying to get through the big gates of the Citadel, and we've got like bows and arrows coming at us and all sorts of stuff. And we had to rescue this weird little sort of evil child thing, and we had to get it to the wizard. And I can't remember what happened, but it was something to do with we had to get this evil child back to the wizard, and if we did, the wizard in the next level will escort us to the portal, and using his magic make sure that we get back to our own time. But we were going down the river, and the child took an arrow basically, so that was it. So the whole of the next mission we had the normal enemy NPCs coming in from the side, plus the wizard and all his raft like firing at us from the wizard's tower. But we're core space veterans, man, so we made it back, and I don't think we lost a single crew member. That was good. But that all comes from these. These are brilliant. You have one here and you have one over there, and you can just go anywhere you want. And if you've got any of our other terrain sets like the Galactic and the Frontier, this is the best way to travel, man. There's no rush hour traffic or nothing. You just get straight in that, bang. You know, there might be sometimes people get lost, but other than that, it's dead safe. And you don't have to worry about traffic. Next time you're sitting in traffic and you're like, consider that you're not stuck in traffic. You are traffic. You're part of the problem. Grab your gate and travel, in the, I won't say the safest way, but travel in the fastest way. But these really do open up great mission ideas if you're into writing your own missions, stuff like that. And one of the ways I play core space as well is almost to let the story write itself. So I'll do a portal thing. I'll have a portal at the end, and you can decide, do you go through it or do you run back to your ship? If I run back to my ship, I get on with the same mission. If I go through the portal, I might put a little roll together and see what happens, and maybe there's risks, risk and reward. If I don't go through the portal, I've got to go back and I've got to do these 2 other missions to get to where I want to do. Or I can go straight through the portal and get straight there. But what are the risks? Could I lose a crew member? But I get there faster. But maybe it's better to go through the missions, because then I'm going to get more time for equipment and be better prepared when I get to that final kind of big boss mission. I don't know, but yeah, these add a lot of this kind of stuff adds a lot of fun to your gaming, so which is pretty cool. Can we buy a second portal? I don't know. On the Kickstarter, oh, I've lost my page. Hang on. On the Kickstarter right now, no, I don't think you can. We'll have a look at how that works. As it were. It would be hilarious if you went back to your timeline and you messed stuff up and yeah, we did have conversations about that. Is about the fact that you go back and we do this thing. I think at the time we were just so busy. We were just like, yeah, that'd be really cool, but let's not break our brains on it. But yes, you could totally. I'm sure Drew came up with some ideas about. There was something we was doing, and I think it was, if a crew member dies, then or if something dies, then we should have some kind of effect that happens when you go back to your own timeline. But I don't think we lost any crew members, so we didn't really have to break our brains thinking about it. But it is pretty good fun. So no plans to do an RPG of core space at the moment. Nothing particular, as it were. I don't really play RPGs, so it's not really within my comfort zone. But of course, there's plenty of great RPG writers and stuff out there. So there's no massive plans to do anything with that at the moment. But we've just got so many cool ideas and plans that I'm not saying we'll never do it. It's just not on our board at the moment. We've got this huge board and there's all these really cool things that we want to do, and it's just like, oh, this one. And then we have to move this big board of coolness out of the way, and we focus on this one thing and make it perfect. So that would be really, really cool. I'd absolutely love that. I would absolutely love that. Any more questions about the Firstborn or the Chaos, or anything Chaos Kickstarter? Anything you want to know about it? Ideas or anything like that before I vanish into my... I'd like to say I'd go and vanish and just chill and watch a bit of telly or something like that, but I'm literally going to pick my scalpel up and I'm going to crack on with the stuff, because obviously I need to get it out in a timely manner within the time frame of the Kickstarter, which is always a challenge, as it were. Have you thought about adding deployable force fields to use for cover? Watch this space for, I think I know the type of thing, the sort of thing you get in Halo where you can crack a thing into the ground and it's like, boom, or you've got the old, what was it, Elysium, where he's got the shield and it like, psh, and he's firing behind the, Ulysses 31. You've got, there's that stuff. Yes, down the Kickstarter, we've got some cool stuff coming. There's a thing to do with shields. There you go. That's blown that, isn't it? Playing Rogue Purge as a crew is great fun. Are they compatible with Firstborn? Absolutely. If you want to take your crew and run them through Firstborn, then you can absolutely do that. I guess the issue you've got is the fact that you will have the Rogue Purge. They search for particular colour items within that particular area. So we'll have to work a mechanic so that there is some kind of get around for these guys. And it could be that if you've got the Rogue Purge, you've obviously got existing core space, that you need to kind of start them off over here, and then you need to have some sort of thing where you're you're able to sell in order to buy orange or blue or whatever in order to craft your stuff there. That would be really interesting. So there's always a way in core space, always a way. I'm going back now. Oh. Yeah, it's a good point. It's hard to get the purge parts, but who's to say the purge don't? If your Rogue Purge are going over there, who's to say they're not being followed by the purge? Again, assuming if you've got Rogue Purge, I'm assuming you've got the original core space. So, like I say, you might want to start over here and then pull stuff over here and bring it all together. Some good mission ideas. Ooh, that's quite exciting, actually. More gameplay with your ship and your vessel. Yes, got some really good ideas about, and this ties into that reputation I was talking about earlier. I don't want to give too much away for this Kickstarter because we've still got 2/3 of it to go, but got some cool ideas for ships, like not big cardboard ships like I was showing you earlier on, but the interaction between your ship and the board whilst actually in play. And once you've got a bit of money together, that ability to buy a bigger ship, and for that ship to give you tactical advantages and some stuff. So I'd better not say too much. But yeah, that'd be really cool, wouldn't it? Okay, want to see that? It's down the Kickstarter, and more cool stuff to come as far as that's concerned. Retro Threat. Ulysses 31. Numina, my brother, Numina. Oh, my nuts and bolts. Loved that show, man. Absolutely brilliant. When Ulysses 31 first come on, I was like, oh, this is amazing. And then he drew out a laser sword. And I was on the fence at that point. I was like, man, he's got a lightsaber. That you can't have those anywhere else other than in Star Wars. But I got over that very swiftly. And yeah, Telemachus, my son. Great fun. I only ever watched it once, but I do remember all the opening credits and all the rest of it. I must have sung it a lot when I was a kid. That and Cities of Gold. If someone was not able to do a Kickstarter, would there be a different way to get on the Kickstarter, as some of the people want to Kickstarter but don't have a way of doing it online? Okay, so, oh crikey, I guess you could send us an email and figure out a way to do it that way. You'd probably want to do it when the Kickstarter's finished, and we can talk through it and find a way. If there's a real difficulty online being able to do it and get whatever the reason is, there might be a way that we can, I mean, it's not something we can do for everybody, but if you've got a particular issue, you can't get on there, and there's a particular difficulty in getting from A to B, then you can always ask us the question. Send us an email, ask us a question, see what happens. We'll always do our best to help, so no worries there. Go down. Oh. Part 2 question. Any thoughts on dual spawning threat tracker that includes all available enemies, NPCs? Okay, so I think I know where you're going with this. Let me read through. I'm not going to predict the rest of your question. Maybe a print and play, blah, blah. All the threat tracker include expansions like to be unlocked, miners report, blah, blah, blah. Much like. Okay, so first of all, the hostility tracker in the Firstborn will be the same as the original core spec. Well, it won't be the same. It's completely different. It's got new stuff on it, but it'll follow the same kind of rule thing, which is on one side it'll have the core contents on it, and then in that core set, if you flip that over, if you then go off and sort of take expansions, which some of you guys are already doing anyway, with and actually you're getting some expansions, aren't you, straight with the Kickstarter, of course. But if you was to buy at retail, you'd use one side of the hostility. If you then went and bought the Gates of Risa, and you had to buy the True God thing, which you're getting free anyway, and you had to buy the In the Line of Fire, which you're getting free anyway, then what you do, you flip that over, and it allows you to integrate that. The first part of your question, can you run 2 hostility trackers? I have absolutely done this before. When I've written a particular mission which I wanted various things to happen. So I would run one and have it with Galactic Core, for example. So I start in a base which is like a police base, and I'm going in there to do whatever. But I don't want the Purge to come in straight away. I just don't want it to happen. And so the Purge really don't factor into it at all until the last 2 or 3 levels of hostility. But I use a second hostility tracker for Purge, and I put a purple peg in it, and I say, you know what, I'm not even going to touch that until this hostility tracker gets up to here. And then I use the other hostility tracker to spawn the Galactic Core. So any time I see a harvester on there, for example, I would just spawn a rank 1, if you like. I would spawn the equivalent kind of rank 1 on on the Galactic Core, which would be your basic guard. And then when you get to things like the rank 2, you've got something like a Devastator. I'll be bringing in a Juggernaut, and then when I'm spawning, and I kind of have that thing going on. And so really, I'm just playing a game with NPCs as the galactic core instead of the purge. But if I hang around too long, the purge start to come in. And so what happens is when my one hostility tracker gets up to here, as soon as it's level with this other hostility tracker where I've got the purple peg, I pull that out and bang, I've got this going on. Then the fun starts, because you've then got the purge coming in, the galactic. And now normally I wouldn't stay that long, because I'm probably going to be overpowered at this point by the main NPC, the galactic core. But what happens is that because the purge then come in, the galactic core start targeting the purge first, as per the mechanic, as per the main core of the rules, and so I'm taking far less fire, which gives me that time to really kind of work my way back to my ship. So I get this real good long stay in the game, and I've got this really thematic story going on. And of course, I've got all my event cards there, so I'm bound to pull out some gangers, and then there's just going to be this, sometimes watching the NPCs fight is as much fun as moving your crew around. And because you don't know what's going to happen, it's controlled by the game. It literally is. The story is unravelling in front of you. And of course, while all that havoc's going on, you're working your way much more safely than expected back to your until card and everyone falls down a hole or something. So, how many missions will the campaign comprise of? I imagine it's going to be very similar to the original one. So we're going to have like a 9, 10, whatever mission campaign, and we'll have some other kind of, a bit like the salvage run, you have some sort of kind of side mission that allows you to kind of come off and go, let's go to this lesser of the asteroids, and just do this little thing to get our crew back up to track and get ourselves back over, and so on and so forth. So there's that. But you've got to remember that the missions in the book are just the start. So we've got our mission Mondays, and we're still pumping out missions for core space, a couple of years later, and loving that as well. So there's just so much content, and we've got some, and it's not immediate, but we've got some great future plans for core space around this galaxy map thing as well. I've got some rather grand ideas, and if I can pull it off, I will do, whereby I've got this dream where you pick a system, and you zoom into that system and you find a planet, and that's where you start, and the missions are generated depending on the area that you started on. That's a very tall ask for a small company, but I think this kind of stuff is the stuff that you guys can do anyway, and we'll get there as well, and then you can have some real fun. But you'll have more than enough fun in the book playing that, and by the time you're through that, you'll have more than enough fun on our website. Go to our website now and just have a look at all the downloadable missions we've got for core space, and expect that to grow like with Firstborn as well. It's all about the missions, it's all about support. Do the Liege only come out of the cryo chambers, or are they? Yeah, so the Liege basically, if you don't search a chamber by the time the hostility tracker gets to a certain level, they will just automatically spawn out of them anyway. But only once out of that, because there's one in per cryo chamber. But you've got to imagine that this is just one part of a much bigger base, and they're flooding in from all directions. A much bigger asteroid, So all the other Liege are obviously coming out of their sleep chambers too, but they're off the board, and so they're making their way in through the normal entry points. So you've got your 6 entry points around the board, and that's where the NPCs from rank 2 onwards come from. Rank 1 NPCs are going to be your drones. They're spawning straight onto the patrol points and doing their patrol, or just attacking you if you've been spotted. And the Liege, the Liege, Iconoclast, Trueborns, the rank 2 plus, all come in from those entry points. But like I say, the 3, I think you've got 3 sleep chambers now. If you search them first, you basically disturb that, and you naturally or automatically kill the Liege that's in there. So if you can get to those and search them before the hostility, you're going to save yourself a bit of grief. If you don't, they're going to spawn. Just adds a little bit of tension, as it were. There's at least one event card as well that will bring a Liege out in the patrol stage as well, and it will literally just scatter around. So you want to watch out for that. Sometimes they wake up early because the drones wake up every so many decades or whatever and do a little sweep. And even the liege are woken up occasionally to make sure that everything's fine. It's really the iconoclast and the trueborn that really, thematically, this is sort of, go on the really long sleep. The liege is kind of like a lower class of firstborn. The trueborn is the, if you like, the kind of the pure blood, the one they're really looking after. And the iconoclasts are kind of like the bodyguards to those. And they themselves are, if you like, as pure in the culture as the firstborn, but they've foregone all their privileges in order to actually become this bodyguard to, their trueborn. So yes, the liege are a little bit more servant class, and so they will even themselves wake up periodically to do their thing. And there's an event card that will trigger one of those, even if you've not been spotted, as it were. Add a lore section to your website to find the great lore. It's hard digging through the blog sometimes, yeah. That's a fair point to make a note of. I don't know if anyone's seen our website, our new spangly, shiny website. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm sure there's something on there somewhere that can do that, whether it's directly linked to the stories or what, I don't know. So I don't know that very well, but I can certainly see that as a cool idea. And someone said, excellent idea. Well done, Klaus. Do the portals work like they do in Stargate? Stargate? Don't know what you're talking about. Don't know what that is. Where we have address symbols that we can collect and learn. So if you've got the... okay, that's a cool idea. I mean, there are some symbols on here that I'm not going to be able to get this to focus, I don't think, because it's my forward facing or rear. You can see these yellow things. You can't see it here, but there's a nice symbol. You'll probably see it on the Kickstarter update page. We've got some nice photos. There are actually some symbols. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 symbols that run around here. And these symbols go right back to our dungeon terrain, our very first portal. And 4 of those symbols are the elements, earth, fire, wind, water. And the other ones are something different. So it would be very easy to pull together a kind of some kind of a dress thing like that. You could quite easily cobble something together yourself. And then in the fantasy portal from our last Kickstarter, it comes with this little console, and this console, like command console, and there's like 4 stones which have got the element symbols on them, and they are scattered. You can scatter those in like the treasure chests, the chests and things like that, and can be found, and you put them all in to activate the portal. Great for missions and stuff. It's not here yet. In this Kickstarter, you'll probably find something very similar to address the other side, to address the other symbols. And maybe if you've got both of those, you've got everything you need for some kind of coded address. I don't know. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. I just realised that several years back, some lucky backers came by and played a homebrew game you had made on the Urban Apocalypse train. Was that actually the beginnings of Core Space? The beginnings of Core Space was me playing a Star Wars game with Wizards of the Coast miniatures. In fact, if you really go back, it was West End Games, but I didn't really have a solid mechanic. I had the Wizards of the Coast Star Wars, and I was playing that, and I wanted all the depth of all of the Force and everything. So I've got an entire rule set, which I'm not going to share, but I've got an entire rule set of Star Wars Force powers. I'm a very big Star Wars fan. I always like to say that I've forgotten more about Star Wars than most people know. It's probably not true, but there are some, as far as getting into the Force and stuff is concerned, I've got some really solid mechanics. And so skill points used to be Force points, and so on and so forth. So that's where it really started. But to answer your question, yes, we had some guys come round and we set up our urban apocalypse terrain. We had a double mat set up, which was really cool. And we actually we played the very early beginnings of Core Space, testing the mechanics. But of course, it was an urban setting, so we, instead of having traders, we had survivors, and the loot were things like normal modern day weapons and bags of food and flour and stuff like that, and supplies, and but we had ammo. We didn't have dashboards; we just have cards with separate ammo things, but we did have like spaces to put things on very, very, very early. But it did have a lot of similarities to Core Space. We were rolling dice, like the Purge dice, and I think we had like a chance dice, something I can't remember. And the combat dice were absolutely the Core Space combat dice. And I think I only tweaked the strength of them very, very slightly. I think on the blue dice I added a double hit. And I think we even had the breaking weapons back then, but instead of a triangle, it was pang. You know that noise when something breaks. It was like pop, pop. And so you roll 2 pangs, and it was the same as rolling 2 exclamation marks in a warning triangle. And so yeah, that was absolutely the early thing. And again, the mission was very basic, like a course-based mission. It's very like, this is the thing. But the thematic story that come out of that, by the time these guys were running and ended up in a fire station and had to kind of hotwire a fire engine, and then they burst out running over the zombies, and they were, shooting at each other and stuff. It was just a cracking game, and I really, really, really enjoyed it. So I'm sure there's some write-up on what happened somewhere on a Facebook post or whatever. But that was me taking my Star Wars stuff and kind of stripping it all the way down, just using the basic mechanics to put on some really good terrain. And then the story unfolded because of the terrain that's included, and because of the figures and how the mechanics almost work in a real world environment. The story just unfolded, because on a flat tile you might see some pictures of a room or something like that, but it doesn't invoke the story. When you've got a 3D environment around you and you're in there, and you can open a cargo crate and you can actually take something and put it in your dashboard, and you can pick a chair up and hit someone with it like you can in Core Space, or flip a table to hide behind it. You start viewing the game very differently, and you view the game and you bring yourself down to the level of the trader or the character that's in that game, and you look around that room. It's a real room with things in it, and you just think, what would I do? And it's like, I'm out of ammo, I'm going to be shot at, so you flip a table. What would I do? I flip the table over. So you flip the table, and then when the NPC makes its way using its AI mechanics, you're standing next to a chair, you pick the chair up and you hit it, and then you run. And that's kind of what I do. Flip the table, dodge the bullets, hit it with a chair, run. And so that's why that game was fun, was because of that 3D environment. And that's what Core Space does. And it's the same with the Firstborn. The story is created by the fact that you don't have to imagine it. It's there. It's immersive. Stick an appropriate soundtrack on in the background, and you're basically in the place. So that's what really, really works for me. Oh my god! Yes, we played a game. That was great fun. Do you bring on another drone if you already have a max? Okay, right. So yeah, in the same way that if you've got the Liege on, same as the original Core Space. So if you're going to spawn a Liege, but you haven't got, it says spawn a Liege, but you haven't got one, then you drop yourself down, you grab a drone if you've got a drone, and you work your way down. So there's always something coming onto the board. There's always something happening. Dale, there's your answer. So yes, definitely. The command console stretch goal has data pads you said fit in the trader dashboard, and we can collect them. How do you see that game mechanic working? Are you supposed to drop loose or gear or pick it up? How do you see? Okay, so they're not data pads, they're like little stones almost like think like Fifth Element, you know, the stones kind of thing. You would put them per mission. So, for example, you could one of the missions I played was to place those stones on the top of each of the 4 pillars. The pillars in the Firstborn have got like an area on top. You can put a counter, an equipment token, an objective token. You can fit the actual round tokens, so you can mark it as searched if the mission said you needed to search them. But you can also place things on top of them. So you can. I had a mission where I placed those 4 stones on those pillars and spread those out in a way that was difficult to get to. And my traders had to get out to those stones, collect those stones, get back. Actually, we kind of got the traders back together, passed them, handed them all off to one trader, the one with the most health, ran to the console, activated the gate, the portal sprang to life, the guys stood at the portal, waited for the other guy to get back, and we all dived through it. So it would be like that. That's how you would mechanically, as one example of how you would mechanically get those stones. And the stones take up about the same space as half of a nano equipment token. So the really thin ones, things like the minerals and stuff you can collect, they take up about half space. And if you've got a full dashboard worth of stuff, you know, which is effectively 4 standard square equipment tokens, or 2 large ones, or 2 small and 1 large. If you're completely full up, there is just enough space in the dashboards to fit one of those stones in. So you can have a full complement and stick a stone in your top pocket kind of thing, which is cool because you can still, it doesn't stop you holding anything else, which is really, really nice. They are very small, so that's cool. That was for you, Sean. So you've got that kind of, it works really, really well. Are you planning on doing an urban terrain Kickstarter too? I'm planning on doing everything, but just not all at the same time, because unfortunately I'm like the bottleneck. So I need to make sure that it is designed in the way that it's battle systems friendly and everything works, designs backwards compatible, works with the right clips, does blah 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 blah. So I'd love to do an updated urban one. I feel like the urban needs a refresh, and I feel like I need a sci-fi version of that as well. You know, so you've got that kind of Blade Runner type thing. That'd be really cool as well. Yeah, that'd be cool. What prompted you to add Fury of the Insane God expansion? Other than it looks cool. Can you shoot at it over walls or doorways? Or the mechanics of that are still a little bit in flux, but we're having a lot of fun with it. A bit like original Core Space. I don't remember, but we've when the game you got was absolutely what we demoed on things like Beasts of War and stuff like that. But mechanically, we really tweaked and made things really quite clever. And what we also did, we took a lot of your guys' suggestions. So many of the things that we did on original Core Space happened post-campaign. The armor slot on the character cards was suggested by you guys, and we made that happen because it freed up more space here. We also suggested that we have a civilian on the back of every single trader. That was not the plan, so that's what we did, and we added that. So you went from getting 3 civilians in the box, I think you got 5 or 6 or something by the end of the campaign, but technically with all the trader crews you had 30 plus whatever civilians at your disposal. So it's the same with the True God. The True God is really cool because it can, if you like, phase through walls, and as such it kind of the terrain, a bit like Core Space walls, when you see, are only so high, so you can get your fingers in and everything. But you've got to imagine that these complexes are probably really quite tall complexes. So, you can imagine there's really high ceilings with dome things and big fans that are pumping oxygen in or whatever, scrubbers. So you've got to imagine that the Firstborn, the true God, is really just occupying that higher space. But you have this kind of the Firstborn have this ability to shape space, so they kind of phase, and he's more, he can really just phase through things, so he can be almost between rooms. So we're messing about with a lot of mechanics like that, but there's some really cool stuff where he can't be damaged until the guards are damaged, and there's kind of this symbiotic relationship between these guys, between the true god and the guardians. There's a kind of link between them, but we're doing some really good fun stuff with that, and I'm really enjoying that. This is one of the best times, is when you're bringing this all together and it all kind of falls together. So by all means, just chuck your ideas about, oh, maybe it'd be good if this, good if that, because I've got it's actually on my whiteboard now. I'm not going to turn this camera. Oh, maybe I will. There's like a whiteboard on the other side of the room, up on the wall over there in the corner. It's kind of there, and I'm writing down ideas that I see in the comments, and I'm just jotting them down. And every day, Stu, who's kind of in charge of the mainstay of the campaign page and what's going on, I look at that at the end of the conversation every day. I just look at that board and go, oh, by the way, blah blah blah, and it'd be like, oh, that's interesting. Maybe we can do this and put this together, and that'd be something with the Kickstarter. Or it's just a case of, yeah, let's keep a note of that because that's a great mission idea. There was one that was a great mission idea that I wrote down. Where is it? See, someone wrote hidden equipment that would, one of the first things I've got up there, someone said maybe there's some hidden equipment that can help you defeat the true god. I wrote that down because I thought that was a really cool idea, that the true god is going to be, the true born is powerful, the true god is going to be really almost like the undefeatable opponent when it arrives. But there is a slim chance that you'll be able to take it down with an advanced crew. Rookie crew just don't even go there. But, with an advanced crew and stuff like that, if you've got your tactics in place. But it's a slim chance. But maybe there's things that you can collect over a campaign that would just give you that extra advantage if you're willing to dedicate the time and the space to keep hold of these items. So that was, someone's written that, and I just thought that's a cool idea. So that might be something that would happen. There was also another thing that was, let me just, it's very difficult to see from here. Firstborn, I like the idea of the Firstborn Peacekeeper, because I had some ideas about that myself, and I just thought, so I wrote that down. Probably not in this campaign, but course basis forever, so yeah, so there's some stuff up there that I'm not going to talk about really, but yeah, so there is some, and sometimes so keep those comments coming in because they really do spark the imagination. And anyone that knows battle systems, from every single Kickstarter we've ever done, stuff happens from suggestions from the Kickstarter. It's just the way, it's hard work, but it's the way that we run Kickstarters, which is why we've got this sitting here in a particular way, because of the way that people were talking about things and how things develop, and sometimes it just kind of makes sense, and you need that community to kind of, just take the spark of an idea and just move it in a little bit of direction and give it momentum. And as that momentum sort of like starts to move, I can be like, I can see that, I can build on that, and I can just like fill it up. And sometimes you just need that little bit of momentum. So that's really cool. So true god idea, true, just if you got an idea, just bung it in there. You never know, it might make it through, like the armor slots and like the other things that happened in core space. Can you shoot it over a wall? Yeah. So it might be that if it's sitting between a door, you might be able to shoot it from both rooms, or maybe you can't shoot it at all. Okay. Can all the walls be mined, or just one per room? Okay, so yeah, so what you do, in order to mine a room, you have to be in base contact with the wall, because that's where that kind of alien texture mineral is. It's not the grey of the asteroid rock, it's this kind of formed part, the bit in the middle with a triangular pattern and everything. In order to mine a room, you have to be in base contact with the wall, and you mine once, and once you've done that, the room is considered to be mined, and you place the mined token in that room. You can still general search that room with a search token as well. The only wall you can't mine is one with a door in it, because we don't want you to be able to walk into a room with a door, literally step through a door, mine it and step out again. You've got to get in there, get into the room and spend a bit of time there to mine that room. So as long as it's not a door with a wall in it, you can go in, you mine once and the room is then mined, which is a real pain if these prospectors get there first and mine it. But then they might get some minerals, and if you can persuade them, maybe it's better to let them mine it and then just let them do the hard work and try and persuade it out of them. Or maybe you want to take on Bulworth with your, I don't know, maybe not. He's a big lad and he's got a lot of kit on his back. And he's got a third arm, and I don't know if anyone noticed, but you can't see it. He's got a third arm on his back, and if you go after him, you probably won't realise he's got a third arm as well until it comes around, bops you. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, somebody made a lovely write up of it. Oh, good. This is the mission, isn't it? On the urban apocalypse. I just never put two and two together. It was core space. Yeah, man. It all starts somewhere. Do you have a link? Yeah. Maybe. Did the back of the dashboards have slots? Will we see anything for these in the near future, or are they just in case? They were put there just in case. The slots on the back of the dashboards, I haven't got one here, there's two little notches you'll see. They're put there just in case we wanted to do some kind of expansion clip-on dashboard that allowed you to do something else. Will we see them in the near future? Yes. You'll see them in the very near future. So stay tuned. Stay on Kickstarter. So, Force Powers for Core Space confirmed. Any plans for some sort of magic? Well, look forward in the future to Fantasy Core Space, and you can imagine how we're going. Maybe the skill points over there for particular characters will, of course, be some kind of magic points. Totally. I love throwing chairs as a desperate attack and dragging crates and tables for defence. Yeah, I don't do much dragging of crates, I have to be honest. But I've dragged plenty of fallen trader by their ankles. Dragging chit's a bit of a chit. Will there be another urban terrain KS? I hope so. I think I answered that above, but yeah, I hope so. I can certainly see an upgraded one of those, and in the distant future, and maybe something cool like sci-fi version as well, some sort of Blade Running thing. I've got some really cool ideas in my head. I need to get my pencil onto it to really visualise it, but just another idea. Oh, lost it. Can you see the drone mechanic being the basics of future ideas, i.e. prison guards doing the rounds? Paddy, yes, and in fact it's completely the other way around. The drone stealth idea actually came from missions where I used the Galactic the Galactic Corps expansion, and I used the guards in there and the security in there, and that's how they moved for me. I'd do a mission and I would have a stealth mission. But instead of moving them from patrol point to patrol point, I used to use the chance dice, and they just used to scatter. Each character would scatter twice per turn. So you'd have these guards randomly just walking in all sorts of different directions. And the great thing about scatter dice is that sometimes the scatter dice will send someone up here and then just go straight back again. Just like a guard man. They walk to the end of the corridor, have a nosy down the corridor, and they come back. Or sometimes they'll just scatter into the room you wanted to go in, and then they'll go and stay. And then they'll scatter and they'll just go in a circle. And you're like, just get out of the bloody room. I need to get in that room. And that's where that mechanic actually come from. It actually came from the stealth that I loved playing with the Galactic Corps. And it was such an enjoyable part for me, an addition. I found myself using it so often in core space that when it come to this new location at the end of the Perseus Arm Firstborn space, I started messing around with that, and I was like, you know what, this needs to be part of this game. And so now you've got this beautiful integration of the stealth and the normal AI mechanic as well. And of course, thematically, it's perfect because, you know, they're not awake when you first get there. You are waking them up. And as such, you can only expect to find automated, patrol units in that, technologies in the catacombs. So it's completely the other way around. So you can take that stealth mechanic. If you've got original core space and you get Firstborn, you can literally take that mechanic, including the patrol points, the entry points, and you could just take those points, stick them on your original core space board. If you've got the galactic core, you can stick them on it, and you can use exactly that mechanic to control those guards if you want to, and emulate it effortlessly. Or you can scatter them the same way that I used to. So, and this is always this beautiful transition between the two. You can always have this lovely kind of, and remember, core space is a sandbox game as well. So if you want the purge to learn and adapt, you can grab a blank dice and make up some kind of, if you like, knowledge advanced upgrade dice for them as well, and have them do random things which are thematically tailored to the purge. It's just all part of the fun, and if you can do it, then it's your game. Do you prefer sci-fi or fantasy? Whoa. I have to be honest, I'm a sci-fi guy. Well, I'm both. I'm absolutely both. But if I had to choose, I would choose sci-fi. But I've kind of lived in a sci-fi environment in my brain for my whole life. So there's something incredibly refreshing about fantasy. When I did the fantasy Kickstarter last year, it really fed that new area for me, because and whenever I design stuff, if I'm designing sci-fi, I have soundtracks on in the background, and I'll be listening to, it's always like sci-fi stuff or films and stuff like that. With the fantasy, I had on like the Lord of the Rings, and and I really got into that. So I would definitely say I am both. I would say I'm 60 to 65% sci-fi, 35 to 40% kind of like fantasy. But I'm really looking forward to immersing myself in the fantasy environment, especially the fact we just got. I've got them all over. I've gone behind. I've got all of the buildings, and there's something epically mystical about fantasy. With sci-fi, I try to keep it reasonably real world. When I'm designing the equipment, even if it's not relevant, as I design a gun and I'm drawing the gun and I'm colouring the gun, everything, I'm often writing down how the ammunition works and why it's different, and chemically how it works, and I like to really base it on the science, with a little bit of imagination and stuff like that, of course. But with fantasy, there's this ability to kind of not have to. You have to base it kind of. It is, you're not constrained. There's this ability to say it's magic. And I like my magic. I like to know just enough about my magic that I feel like an advanced enough civilization could explain away the science and say it's not magic, it's just science. But in its fantasy setting, it's magic. In the same way you travel back, to caveman times, and you show them a lighter, it's magic, isn't it? You produced it from your hand, you strike a match, kind of thing. So I kind of I love this aspect of the fantasy, this kind of freedom to just say, yeah, this is going to transmogrify into boop, and it's and there's a scientific, I'm sure there's a scientific and biological reason why that happens and how it happens, and it can be explained away by the extreme advanced, maybe the Firstborn will be able to explain it. But back in Fantasyland, it's magic. It's absolutely magic. I love that. I love all that kind of stuff, which is cool. Very interesting. I'm looking forward to that big time. Big time. Okay. Are you thinking of making a hive drone? A hive drone? Explain, Jack. Is that like some sort of mother drone, like a queen drone or something? Are the drones hackable? I've got a big note in my rule set about current skills in core space, ones that are going to be reused and how they affect. Because some of the skills are very like tech skills are very like you can hack a purge and you can control the purge and stuff like that. This is different technology, so I've got a note to make sure that all works and balances really, really well. So we'll have a look at that. The Firstborn are immune to some of the usual sciences that and skills that we would normally have. Had a big conversation the other day about the fact that drones are immune to the close combat skill sweep your feet, because it's not got any feet. So there's those sort of conversations that we have which are quite amusing. We'll make sure that works for sure. I certainly wouldn't expect a tech to be able to walk in and hack a drone. I'd expect a tech to walk in and try and hack a drone and go, shit, it ain't going to work, So, that'd be interesting. Blade Runner sci-fi terrain would be awesome. I totally agree. Are you able to destroy pillars, columns, and damage enemies using... are you able to destroy the pillars, columns, and damage enemies using them for cover? Okay. In the basic core rules, no, you don't do that. But as you know, with core space, you can damage items. You can actually damage items. So and there's various rules and suggestions for advanced rules about you damage a cargo crate. What happens to that cargo crate? Does it? Do you destroy the contents, or is it scattered, or is one random thing destroyed when you destroy the crate? So that's kind of interesting. I'd expect those same kind of rules to apply. A pillar might be slightly different, but it's I've certainly got notes about things to do with cutting walls and stuff like that. So I'd certainly watch the space for that. It's always the question we ask. Sometimes we get into a tight spot in a game and just like, what if we can't get in this, it's locked, this thing's happened, can we destroy it? And we're like, well, we can. It's pretty tough. We'd need to give it an armour of this and maybe some hit points. We make that choice on the fly, a bit like a role-playing game, I guess, that we both, if it's a player versus player, we both agree on it. And then we always make sure that there's a risk and a consequence to it. So if we're going to allow ourselves to do something slightly different, then we got to say but we don't know it's a risk, and so we add in some kind of element or risk, which we either pull into a dice roll, or if we can pull into just the effect itself, depending on what happens when we destroy it. So it might be the fact that we can destroy it, but it only takes one hit to destroy it. But when you fire at it, if you roll 2 hits above its whatever, then you've destroyed everything, So we have these kind of conversations all the time, which is pretty cool. And remember, core space with that, if you want to put something like that in about a pillar or pillars in a particular mission, you've got to destroy pillars or destroy a terrain item, you can award it those hit points based on your understanding of the environment, which is pretty cool. The cyberpunk terrain, do you plan on making it part of core? The cyberpunk terrain, do you plan of making it part of core space? Is there big cities in core space? Okay, so obviously the cyberpunk terrain is in the box of core space. That's what you get. I certainly do love the idea of big areas for core space that are not just Galactic or Frontier or something like that. Like I said, the sort of Blade Runner, almost like the urban apocalypse style, but in a sort of Blade Runner-y kind of cyberpunk feel. Love to do that. You imagine the big building, like we do on our urban train, where you get the tower and then you've got like the big cyberpunk sign coming out the side, running down the side, the neon and all that kind of stuff. I've got a very good visual feel for how that should look, so that would be interesting to design, but also to do the artwork for that as well. Any plans to have tech to throw or deploy to cause distraction for stealth? It's a good idea. Some sort of yeah, you could. We had the opposite. Got a rule kicking around whereby it's on an event card at the moment. Whether it stays or goes, I don't know. Where if you're in stealth mode and you're searching through things and you can't carry enough and you haven't put it back in, obviously you can drop an item, you just leave it on the floor. If a drone comes in there, if a drone comes through, what happens is that in stealth mode you can pull an event card and you read the patrol and it says a random drone makes a scan of a room. If there's anything out of place, any equipment tokens, blah blah blah, then it immediately moves to the next drone point, which if you're doing stealth is probably going to get you caught. So there's some stuff like that. I think that probably comes back to my notes about the current tech skills and how that affects the current tech skills and how that actually affects the mechanic. And there might be something there that is a distraction. Right now, stealth is really, really well balanced. Having said that, I've been playing it a long time, so I've kind of got the knack of it. I've no doubt that you guys might just run in there and get caught out pretty quickly, so you might need something that's going to help you do that. Will you be able to afford that as a rookie crew? Probably not, but core space is a tough place. Where are we? Will you create any official missions that have more than 4 crew? I've certainly played. I never really thought of that, to be honest. I bet Stu and Drew have definitely. I've definitely played missions with more than 4 crew, without a doubt. I am as much as I enjoy playing core space with others, I am a solo player. I've been a solo player my whole life, which is kind of why core space just naturally works so well with as a solo game. In addition to obviously it being that player versus player and co-op and that weird mixture of the two, which gives it that unique flavour. I've definitely played with more than 4 crew, and I've built up larger crews and taken them in. Generally, I tend to do it if I write a mission. Sometimes I'll write myself a little mission, and I want to play it, and so I play it, and I'm like, it's just too tough. I'm not going to be able to do it. So I tried to pull the mission back a bit, and for me, I'm like, no, it's going to spoil the mission. It needs to be this, and that's when I will take an advanced crew in. Some of my advanced crews have got 7 crew members. So and ordinarily I'd leave some on the ship and bring them out, and the people on the ship were doing things, and then but on those missions I will just take in a 5th or a 6th member. The other thing that I do is when I've got more than 4 crew, I will allow 4 crew to go in. If one is defeated, I will allow another crew member to come in to aid, or I will have 4 crew members in. I will run a crew member back to the ship and let someone else come in. So I have this kind of no more than 4 on a board at a time. But I don't see any reason why we can't have a tough mission with 4. The good thing is if you've got a particular mission you're playing, you're really struggling, and I mean you're really struggling no matter what you do, because of how you operate your crew or your play style, naturally this mission is really difficult. And you're like, look, I played this mission 3 times and now my crew's worse off than what it was when it started. Then you can always just say, well, look, let me give myself an extra crew member and just go in there and do it. Just homebrew it that little bit, just for that one extra little thing, because for you that's exactly what's needed, and that thematically that works. All you got to do is make sure you don't just gift yourself a crew member. I would say allow a 5th member in there, but you've got to grab the boards, shuffle them up, or maybe just give yourself a point system and just go, look, I can afford this much. Basically, use the rules and hire a crew member, an additional crew. So you're going to get that benefit to help you in the mission, but you've got to pay over the odds. And if it's a really difficult mission, then you might want to double the costs or whatever, depending on how your UA funding is going at the time. Got no problem with that. Could we have a course-based soundtrack? Absolutely. Just put on your favourite sci-fi music, and just and that's your soundtrack, as it were. I'm a musician myself, but I wouldn't want to try and do a course-based soundtrack. But God, wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be great? That goes along with the TV series for me. Course-based soundtrack, Spotify playlist maybe. Yeah, absolutely. Got a very good friend from Greenwood Games, Adam, and we speak almost every day, and we've had multiple conversations about exactly, that ability to kind of, soundtracks and what we listen to while we're playing our games. It's all about immersion, really is. Is there a connection between the Firstborn and a live one? I'm not telling you anything about that. Sorry about that, Dow. Off Dow's comment, here we go. A destructible train, an earlier comment, I can get away with that. As in designed to come apart, be repaired, etc. Yeah, actually, this is something I've toyed with before, where you can... I have got some course-based cyberpunk walls where... and if anyone's got the Kickstarter edition of anything of ours, you're going to get extra walls and things. Grab one of those walls, get a pen, something, and just very carefully draw like a broken area, almost just big enough for someone to crawl through or something. Draw that on there, take a scalpel and very carefully and slowly cut that out. And just keep going until it comes out, pop it out. When you put it back in, you'll find it'll stay in absolutely perfectly. And you then can, we've already done it, we had a mission where we had a wall, and we built this thing, and there was no way from one side of the board to the other, just a wall. So our crew, myself and Drew, took our crew in, we had to bash our way through the wall, and I think we ended up using chit in the end to stand there just bashing our way through this wall, because we were just killing our ammo. And he's got a combat dice roll of 3, and he's big. So he bashed a hole in the wall in the end, I think, and we've got some great pictures of that. So don't be scared. Don't be scared to, if you've got extra, to just do that. And remember, you just slot it back in and it's completely fine. I think on the game we played, I actually just had a wall, and then I just took out another wall and I just literally hacked it to bits. And then I got some red and yellow pens and I just coloured it to make it look like it was all burnt away. Yeah, you could definitely do that independently of whether we do it. You could just definitely do it. It's just so easy to do. We're £54 off the next goal. That can't be right, can it? We had a bit of a run. It's that Gates of Ricer, isn't it? Okay. So sad. I missed the display of the ship. Yeah, but you can watch it back, can't you? Isn't it on here somewhere? Last time I opened this, the everything disconnected. So, Claus, be it on your head. If we lose connection, it's your fault. There you go. Don't mean you're going to get it. I'm just trying to demonstrate. When people say, "Have you ever thought about this and ever thought about that?" I'm just trying to demonstrate that. Yes, I absolutely have, and I think about it on a regular basis. Okay, not coming on this Kickstarter. Are you able to... Yeah, we did that. Any plans... Oh, hang on, I went back way too far here. Let's go. Any plans for settings? How... Going back. Yeah, okay, Jack. Oh, hang on, no, yes. Like the Queen drone in mind. Okay, no, there isn't a plan for like the Queen drone, but only because the drones are they're not like, they won't need a Queen, if you like. The Queen is the Firstborn. They are really just, I wouldn't say they're mindless, because their technology is advanced, their AI is pretty advanced. But it would, you can definitely, there definitely won't be like a Queen, drone, as it were. But I can see how you'd imagine that, though, because drone, isn't it? It's like the drone thing. How about a deployable sentry turret. Hang on, have I missed one here? No, that goes to there. How about a deployable sentry turret that you throw the item from your inventory and it turns into a sentry gun? Yeah, cool. I like that idea. That will attack anything that comes. Well, we've already got, in the dangerous days, we've already got mines. They're really good, where you throw the mine and you've got a remote, and then later on you can, so you can kind of let the AI come towards you and then boom, blow them up. That's a really cool thing. I love using those because you can go in, if you've got the money, you can go in with like 4 mines, and you can really tactically use that to help you see. You can almost like create a perimeter and around the survivors, a perimeter parade. You get this lovely kind of thing going on, and that's good fun. Sentry guns, no, they haven't got those, but I do like the idea of this throwable pop-up doodah. Any plans for setting explosives or traps? Well, we just spoke about that. We got the mines. I'd love to get some mines into some of this additional equipment as well in Trading Post 5 and all that kind of stuff. So that would be really cool. Pull in some of that stuff, that kind of dangerous days kind of styly stuff, and have a little bit of mix of that. That would be really good. I have got quite I don't think I can mention that yet because they're not here. There is something that's coming later in the campaign which comes in and interacts with other NPCs that are already in the Kickstarter, and one of the rules is that they can set a trap for something. And of course that could be a pain in the butt for the traders. I can't really say anything more about that. It's a loose rule. I have used it, and actually it's on an event card, and you draw the event card and it tells this particular NPC, imagine like civilian, whatever, it tells them that they will set a trap, and it tells you the effects of that trap and what you can do about it. So I have got that on an event card, and I am gaming that at the moment. But you just haven't seen those characters yet, or you might have seen them, but they're not out. They're not on your Kickstarter yet, because we're like a third of the way through. We've got like loads of time yet. A controllable trader drone would sound cool. Having it as an item which you can deploy. Yeah. Oh, I see. Right, some sort of drone for the traders. Yes, they are very cool. We've got auxiliaries basically in core space, but we haven't got them, but they're a thing. So auxiliaries is kind of where you might have a drone, you might have a gun drone, very combat driven. You might have a drone that will then, or a machine that will go searching for you, something that can hold an item or two or whatever, but and maybe a small bit of firepower. You've then got sort of tracked vehicles that will allow you to just go out, almost like movable cargo crates, like a mule that you can just load up and it follows you around kind of thing, that kind of thing. You've then got the beast version of that, and some weird creatures that can come in and assist you and have effects and stuff like that. There's a whole load of stuff like that you guys haven't seen yet. Just as a little sneak peek for anyone that's like still hanging around listening to me, there absolutely are all these cool things. Those sort of things I've just spoken about. I've got proper solid concepts ready for sculptors for those. So that is some other stuff that I'm going to tell you about. But so if not very soon, then certainly in a kind of a Dangerous Days kind of mid-year expansion that we can get sorted. God, yeah, I'm looking forward to that stuff. That'd be really, really cool. So auxiliaries and things like that would be really, really fun. In our games, we use various types of drone for cargo, medical, weaponized. Yeah, exactly what I was saying. If you homebrew rules, handle this, absolutely. And until we get you out the official stuff, that's the beauty of it. You've got drones. I think you've got drones and things like in games like Endure the Stars. Again, Greenwood Games, brilliant. And you could, if you've got those kind of models already, then bang, just like, it just has to be something really, really simple. They don't even need a dashboard. Just give them a hit point or two, or just give them an armor value, and all the time you've got them there as a little sidekick helping you out. It's just great, you know, really, really great. If you're going to do that, I'd also tie some, not disadvantage, but tie some sort of AI mechanic to it that says it has to be within a certain range of your trade, or something that just kind of grounds it a little bit, that says if you move too far away from it, it just sits there and it doesn't do anything. And it'll still target and stuff like that, but you can't then almost control it, you know, a line of sight thing. Add some kind of little give and take kind of rule that kind of makes you manage that. That's always a cool thing if you're going to homebrew something. Would love to see it soon. Fantastic. Oh, lost that. No, disconnected. I would have taken full responsibility. I know you would have. Are there only small crates in Firstborn? There are no crates in Firstborn. There are arcs. But yes, but the sleep chambers, they open and you can fit loads in that. I wouldn't, but you could probably fit like 15, tokens in there stacked up. So you've got the arcs, smaller. They don't even hold as much as a normal cargo crate, small cargo crate. But the Firstborn technology is powerful, so there's a real nice balance to that. Kind of got this idea of doing some deeper ones as well, which I just want to do. So we'll see what happens with that. Oh, lost that. Where'd it go? Hollow devices to set that provides an image of your crew to drag enemies to it. The old hollow thing, a bit like Total Recall. I've always loved that idea. I've had it in some game testing things that I've done. I have a holographic character which I was messing around with. That's really cool. Which is just a character, you get a dashboard, do everything like that, but it's literally a hologram, which has massive disadvantages, but they're massive advantages. So I've had that kind of thing as well, but I absolutely love the idea of the decoy, where you do that kind of thing. For me, I'd want to do it with a miniature. I'd want to do, so if, let's say you had I don't know, I want to do it, I'd give it as a special ability to one character or something, so that you could have the model. And what you do is then you literally remove the main model and you replace it with the almost like the clear see-through plasticky kind of coloured ones, and you might have 3 of those on the board, and then you just move them as you go, and until you shoot or do whatever. Yeah, there's some great ideas. Yeah, I love the hollow guy. Big game hunters, you are not going to say, are you? Just stay on the Kickstarter, man. Stay on the Kickstarter. Tried and tested. I have great fun teaching my kids to play simplified versions of your games. Are you able to make some simplified kids rules to play Firstborn or Core Space, or is that something you would be open for ideas for? Yeah, I mean, for Core Space, I've done the same with my kids as well. I will play a game and we do certain things that we just leave out, and it's a bit. What I do, I just take the very basics and just game with that. So I wouldn't use the skills straight off. I'd give them skills, but I just wouldn't talk about them. And I would just let them game, and I would just let them enjoy themselves, and I would let them move and fire. And when they're about to do something, they're a bit stuck. Sometimes tend to get a bit upset. I kind of point and just go, well, you've got this skill here, and it allows you to do this. And it might be stubborn to get them to move out the way or whatever like that. And they're super chuffed with that. And I'll tell you what, when you do it that way, they remember. They absolutely remember that skill is there, and they use it again. And what my kids tend to do is then be like, so if that one gives me an extra move, stubborn, what's this one here? Well, funny, that one gives you an extra attack. What does this one do? Well, that one, if you're...
Sorry, I don't know that one.
Okay, she obviously thought I was talking to her. And and that one, if you're in base contact with a wall, you can not be targeted. Oh, targeting, that's where so so straight away they really start to kind of surprise you in the fact that they don't need the simplified versions. So just get them moving. They've got 2 actions, they've got their guns they like to fire, kids know how to run, so that's fine, and just let them move around. Also, let them break the rules a little bit. Let them kind of be like, oh, but I've got nowhere to go, I'm going to die. Can I shoot a hole through this wall? Okay, if you want to try and shoot a hole through this wall, I can do this thing. Or can I push that person out the way and do a thing? Well, you can. Here's the mechanic. You might want to change the mechanic. Can I dive through the window? Well, you can, but it's going to hurt. What would happen if you dive through the window? But you'll be surprised that they will. They're quite imaginative. They'll be happy with us with just the very basics of moving and shooting. And often they tell the story as they go. And that's the fun part about it. So, yeah, that's really, really good. I'm going to be all over that ship when we see it. Yes, me too. I'll be honest, I did it. I did that for me. I was just toying around with some ideas and I just did it. And I was just doing a sketch. Sometimes I just need some time off and I tend to just come up with ideas when I'm doing that by accident. And I just, and then as I was doing it, I was like, well, I need to shape this way because otherwise the card won't bend in that direction. And before I knew it, I've kind of got an idea of how it might slot together and stuff. But I'm not sure, and you won't see it until I've got it, really, really spot on, as it were. So what was your inspiration for the catacombs terrain? I kind of always had a bit of a thing for the kind of the Indiana Jones, Tomb Raider, that kind of hidden temple, ancient technology, both with Indiana Jones and with kind of Tomb Raider. It's all about ancient temple-y stuff, but when you really delve deep, it's like aliens, isn't it? And it's kind of that would probably be my biggest kind of influence, I would say. And then just what you see online, you search for different things, even down to the pyramids, Egyptology and stuff like that. That's got there's some nice ideas and vibes. I was very careful not to follow that classic Egyptian vibe though, because I think that's been kind of done to death in sci-fi. I mean, certainly through things like Stargate and stuff like that. I love it, but I just wanted something little bit different. So I made sure that with putting this together, I probably spoke about it before, but there's a kind of a design language that goes along with the Firstborn, and very, very early on, I put together my shapes of the design language and made sure that I fed that through the characters and I fed that through the terrain, and so there's familiar stuff there which binds it all together. Rock, asteroids of rock. We're used to seeing that on here on Earth, and you are in the real world, I mean, as it were, and vines and stuff like that. But then you've got the Firstborn technology and their tech, and I wanted to make sure that nothing of theirs was what I call galactic standard. So galactic standard is what you'd expect to see. You'd expect to see nuts, bolts, rivets, anything that's like our world, shapes that are our world, things, like vents, and all that kind of, all the gubbins and stuff and wires. There's no wire. If you look at the Firstborn technology, there's no wires. So there's no, unlike original core space Saipan, there's no dangling wires. There's no signage as you would see it, or labels. There's no rivets. There's no bolts. There's no vents. There's things are not angled in the same way. There's no door handles. There's no, there's none of that, which makes it very difficult to design because it's very easy to fall back on that particular thing. So all the way through their armor and their designs, and of course their technology. The Firstborn have got no guns. There are no guns, and we've had chats when we've like looking into everything. So even when we're when Wayne is writing like a story or something like that, there'd be a bit and blah 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 blah. So finds a gun. It's like, well, it can't be a gun. It needs to be a weapon because a gun sounds like a thing. Or someone finds some goggles. It's like, well, they can't be goggles. Let's make them lenses. And we don't have lights flicker on. The room illuminates, or the room just whatever. So. And it's the same with the artwork. The design language is that you don't see galactic standard stuff in that environment, even though there's a familiarity about its temple-y, catacombs-y kind of stuff. If you look at it, there's nothing familiar. The only familiarities, in fact, would be things that you might have seen before in our other terrain. In the fact that this might seem familiar, but only in the fact that it's got nothing on it that's galactic standard. But you've seen it before because we've purposely included it in our other terrain sets to be able to link things together, knowing full well, 2, 3, 4 years in advance what our plan is and for expanding, even before core space was about. So, so we have symbology, and we have. I try not to. We use circles and triangles. I use circles and triangles. I try not to use too many squares. And so you've got this kind of vector and this directional. There's a dynamics to a triangle, but there's also a homely warmth to a circle. So using that juxtaposition of kind of like the sharp triangles for technology and design, and that ability to have power and vector, and like a fighter jet or a fox or a wolf. It's all triangles, but then you've got that kind of roundness of the baby face in the engrams and stuff like that shows that they're not a warring faction. There's kind of this roundness to things. There's nothing really solid like anything like squares or rectangles, because that would be very solid, reliable. That's very galactic standard. That would be your truck or your freighter or your cargo crate or your, those kind of things are stability. You think of a fast vehicle, you think of a fighter jet, you think of something sturdy and reliable. You think of a big square, it's like a big truck. If you think of something soft in a vehicle and sort of fun, you think of a VW Beetle, that kind of roundness, that homely, friendly kind of thing, like you get Herbie, So I made sure very early on that the design language, we removed as many squares as possible and stuff like that, and I made sure we got vector, and I made sure that we've got this roundness, and overall that really allows the Firstborn environment to not feel like anything else that we've had before. And because it's so far out, it's never had contact with any other species, because when the Firstborn were there, they was the only life in the galaxy. There were no other spacefaring, so there was no kind of other influence. So I wanted to make sure that was completely separated, and that's how I've designed the particulars of everything from their armor to even their biology to a certain extent. If you look at the Firstborn biology, I think we've got some pictures out there of some of the, everything's very triangular, the way their forearms are and their heads and their, it's all very, it's all designed in that way, that organic kind of, but almost sharp vectors. And then that pushes through into their terrain, into the textures on the walls, their symbology on the walls, and like I say, their armour and pretty much everything else. Inspiration, that's a long answer, wasn't it? Inspiration for the Firstborn were very much, for the catacombs, were very much like something Tomb Raider or Indiana Jonesy. I just wanted to then make sure that they looked like they hadn't been influenced by anything galactic standard. I think we've definitely achieved that. There's a scary strength about the Firstborn, but an undertone of, the liege themselves. They're servants. There's a warmliness to them. Well, I see it anyway, in things like their engrams and their technology. So hopefully that comes across. I know, you said we couldn't do shuttles, and here we are today. I said I couldn't do shuttles at the beginning of Core Space and then gave you one by the end. That's not a shuttle, that's too big. but yes, you're absolutely right about you're right about that. I said no shuttles and I gave you a shuttle. That's a very good point. Will we get Pets Droid type companions? Well, I just answered that, Sean, up there. I don't know why I keep pointing up there, but for me it's up there. Yes, not right here, not right now, but yes, I've already designed them. They're on character sheets. They're ready for sculptors. It's going to happen, kind of in the Core Spacey way, along with a couple of whatever other really cool things that I know everybody's been waiting for, and has suggested, a million times. So, and I'm really looking forward to that, and I'm really looking forward to it now that I've actually designed those characters and those things, and they're just sitting there waiting to happen, which is really cool. How did Core Space initially come about, and how did you get it from your head to the table? Slowly and with dedication, Ashley. Again, I mentioned up there, it started as a Star Wars game for me, Wizard of the Coast miniatures, and then I played that for quite a few years. Skill points were force points and all that kind of stuff. And then I always wanted to make a tabletop game, but the work involved, having spoken to people in, who are already running independent games companies, the work involved was just the learning curve of, for those of you out there that have got a little bit of knowledge about it, the learning curve for developing games and stuff like that is just immense, So I stuck to what I was good at, which is building terrain, and Battle Systems was born building terrain. So I did that and handled that, and we did that and we handled that, and it went from there. But the plan was always to work towards a game. I would have done a game first, but I didn't want to make the mistake that everyone else makes, which is to try and produce something that you can't deliver on it. I didn't want to overpromise and underdeliver. So I made sure that I started with the terrain, which I was good at, and then worked my way in to the gamey side. And by the time, then getting it from my head to the table, by the time I'd been doing Battle Systems for a couple of 3 years, the transition was a lot easier then, because I didn't have to worry about factories and all the rest of it. It was just a case of making sure that that was not a scary aspect anymore. I was used to handling that. So what I did was I made sure that I would, I just had to integrate the new aspects of the game, the new problems, if you like, handling plastics and tooling and stuff like that. And got all the quotes in and did all of that, and it all kind of fell together. There was a margin in it, and we did all of that, and it looked like it was a good thing for the business, and we carried on and done it. And of course, that is very, very complicated, and from that it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and you kind of grow with it, and that's where like Stu comes in to handle that stuff, because he's got like experience with all of the plastics and the tooling, the moulding, plus editing of game, and and I think everybody in Battle Systems has a kind of an area of uniqueness to them that they kind of shine at. and you know, that really helps us manage that really well. And I think that's how we got it from, you know, the head to the table. We had a solid plan based on research and speaking to independent people, and we had persistence, and we worked the 15-hour days to make it happen. But you sort of don't care because it's what you love, so you just carry on and do it. But yeah, it's weird. It's weird, but it's just really, really good fun. And you know, one of the things that really keeps you going is the fact that, you know, Core Space is a game that I want to play. And like I say, I still play it every single week. So, which I haven't played this week, but yeah, I play it every single week, and it's you know, it's there for me first and foremost. So that's pretty cool. Get that man a tea. He's parched. Yeah, look what I got left, man. I made this. This is how much I've got left, and now it's gone. I have got Strepsils just in case. But yeah, I don't think a tea's incoming. Oh, has it been 3 hours? I suppose I better wind it up soon then. Go get a cup of tea, we'll wait. Yeah, I normally get a cup of tea delivered. I'm not going to complain, because Mrs. Claw is putting everybody else to bed in the house, and I'm not doing any of that, so I'm sure I'm going to be in trouble. Will we see some of the meta stuff like ship repairs, shops, etc. turn up as a trader location? Could have its own missions and stuff. Well, you know, what are we doing over here? So, just stay on the Kickstarter. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. But I'm working on it. I'm literally working on it right now. In the same way that on the fantasy terrain, when we launched the fantasy terrain, we had a few cool things, but a lot of the stuff just didn't exist at the beginning. And by the end, we had it. So we had the watermill, the chapel, the wizard's tower. None of that stuff was designed. It wasn't even a sketch on paper. And by the end of the Kickstarter, somehow it appeared fully finished, pretty much. A little bit different with Core Space because we got miniatures and things like that, so we managed to do some pre-work. But I've got at least this one other thing that I want to kind of pull together. I mean, there's lots of other stuff coming, but I've got this other thing that around that kind of idea that we're putting together, and that should be fun, and that should come in, and we can combine some stuff together. And yeah, it works. It should work really, really well, and it will pull. It will thematically feel right, and will open up a whole plethora of mission ideas and stuff like that, which is great for us because, you know, we're doing our Mission Mondays and we can kind of pull that together and write that as well. So that will be fun. Watch this space. Definitely watch this space. The white box is a shop. I don't know what you're talking about. Will it hold tokens? Stick them on the shelves. Have we got shelves? I don't know. Might have some shelves. Will we see a military-style expansion? Colonial Marines, cough cough, up against Charged Purge or Firstborn. That'd be cool, wouldn't it? I mean, we've got the Galactic Core, of course. They're almost like your bobbies on the beat, you know, kind of thing. I do like the idea of something kind of military. Haven't got anything for that yet at the moment, but yeah, I want to be very careful about, like, you know, moving wargaming. But I certainly see, you know, that kind of special Marines behind the enemy lines kind of thing would be a really cool kind of angle to take. So never say never on that. Certainly would be pretty cool. Which would be great. That'd be something to, you know, really look forward to, I would say. Yeah, it'd be great fun. Right, let me refresh this because it's kind of stopped. We're still recording over here, but it's kind of stopped here. I think I think, looking down, it's loading. I think I caught up with myself. It's possible I've missed a couple of questions here, but I have tried to go through and answer every single question as it's come along. So hopefully I've been successful in that. And I don't think there's anything else. Well, this page won't open now. So I've lost my feed over here. So I don't know if I'm going to lose the live feed over here. I can see, what about Purge Homeworld expansion? Who says the Purge have a homeworld? You got to think a little bit differently about the Purge. The Purge are not really a race unto themselves. They are a construct. I'll be very careful what I say here. They are more of a construct. That comes together because of the restrictions of being able to travel from one galaxy to another. You know, they're an automaton that is a necessity. Because there is no other way to breach the void. So, and I'm going to say nothing else about that at all. Live one feels kind of live. Yeah, well, the live one is, the trouble is what happens is you construct something to do a job, to harvest biomass, etc. And that only goes so far. And the reason is because in order to understand, sometimes you need to emulate. And so you need to infiltrate and emulate and understand, and that's where the live ones come in. They're as much a scout as they are, a leader. And with their holographic cloak, being able to disguise themselves as civilians, they have this organic nature to them, because they are organic, but they are also kind of integrated with the purge technology. And so with live ones, after each battle, if you like, after each mission, they go back up to their ship. They don't sit down, have a coffee or whatever. They're plugged back in. They're almost like cleaned mentally, and then out they go again. And that's kind of where the rogue purge come from. You have this thing where it's lost connection, and it's being forced to kind of think for itself a little bit more independently, away from the hive mind, and it has to start making its own decisions in order to complete its mission. And by the time it's completed its mission and finally gets back, unfortunately, it's changed so much that it's targeted by its own kind as foreign, and hence the rogue purge. And there's a cool little story, actually, that I wrote for a change, and but I'm crap at writing. So I wrote, and a friend of mine, Adam Smith, Greenwood Games, and he then took that and edited it, so that it wasn't garbage, but keeping all the cool ideas. And I think we published that somewhere. That's a really cool story, and that kind of explains that process for the rogue purge. Really enjoyed that, so the live ones are organic. Something else about the live ones as well is that there isn't just that live one. There are 3 types of live one that we have. One is the live one that the scout, if you like, the out and about, and you then have a live one that is integrated into a place that is not a home or a home world or anything like that, but is integrated into an area where the purge might cluster, where they need to be. and then there's another one. These are stories for later times as the Purge develop, as it were, which is pretty cool. They have a big cube. Yes, it comes back to design language again, doesn't it? Would they have a cube? Well, they better not have a cube, I guess. But see, what the Purge tend to do is they tend to hack. They tend to obviously they pull biomass apart and they harvest it and they do all that cool stuff. But they don't have any ships of their own. What they tend to do is they tend to take the ships that they have, if you like, harvested, and maybe instead of breaking those down, they will use them, infest them, for want of a better word, and they will almost like shunt these craft together into these big mega vessels, as it were, which is kind of interesting. And that's where one of the other very organic live ones sort of comes to fruition. Heralds of Galacticus. Will you eventually tell us anything in the game? Yeah, it's a story, man. It's a story that needs to unfold as you visit new locations. And, you know, right now, the traders and that, the Purge have been so powerful around the Barrens. But the Barrens is a small area, you know, it's not a small, it's a massive area of space. But, you know, if you live much further on the other side, you know, in the Galactic Central, if you're right at the other side, the Purge are nowhere near that. Purge are just like stories that parents tell their kids to sort of scare them to sleep, sort of thing. Obviously, if you're in the Barrens, you know it's a real threat. And, you know, it could take the Purge thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years to slowly, you know, harvest the galaxy. But it is harsh for the traders where they are. The traders don't really belong in the Galactic Central place. They'll do missions there. They don't really belong there. It's tough there. There's too many restrictions, trade route, blah, 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 blah. So they go to the Barrens because it's risky. The Purge are there, but it's good pickings, you know, risk reward. But it's getting tough there. So if they have an opportunity to explore the other end of the galaxy and there is a real big area of uncharted space, then they're obviously going to head in that particular direction, which is really, really good. Of course, unluckily for them, they've woken up the Firstborn, which is a whole pile of poo for them. But, you know, so you've got, you know, rock and a hard place now. You've got the Purge coming from this side. You've got the Firstborn just woken up and, you know, they're not going to be happy. So they might start to make a move. And the great thing about the Firstborn is that they don't need to use the Lagrange gate type technology to do their stuff. They have the ability to just kind of move their sun and everything around it. So you've got this going on, you've got that going on, and you've got this big squeeze in the future, as it were. So you've got to let the story unfold as we develop new locations. So like I said before, you've got this, you've got that. There'll be a location here, there might be one over here, and we'll build up this lovely big picture, and over time the story should integrate and link nicely, just because we're having fun. You mentioned a Purge ship expansion. I mentioned the Rogue Purge expansion. So the Rogue Purge is it's not a ship, it's a Rogue Purge expansion, a selection of Purge that have gone rogue and are characters in unto themselves, and you can use them as traders. But they've got a really kind of funky mechanic of how you use them. You can't use them like ordinary traders. When you first get them, they're incredibly weak, and your first crew starts with a live one just by himself. However, if you are strong and you persevere and you've played Score Space before and you're up for a challenge, and you stick with them, they will progress to be as strong as a normal crew, but they can potentially be much stronger than a normal crew. But it's a case of balance. You start really weak on the premise that you can finish really strong. So that would be really cool. That's a really cool thing. What's up there? Are you going to do any crossover like Doctor Who, Red Dwarf, etc.? The beauty of that is that no, but you can, because we have you have the ability to use the character generation tools that are online or just straight in the book. And you can literally, if you've got the models for Red Dwarf, if you've got the models for Doctor Who, if you've got the models for Star Wars, if you've got the models for Judge Dredd, if you've got the models for Hellboy or whatever you want to do, you know, you can literally take that as your crew. You can build, people do it all the time, take that as your crew and you can just make them your crew with the character generation tools. And then you can take that crew into Core Space or into Firstborn or whichever part you want to do, original or Firstborn. So that's there for you already. We don't, you know, we'll let you do that. That's kind of half the fun. Are they multi-dimensional then? Are we talking about the Firstborn or the Purge, David? The Firstborn have really got a good knowledge of space, time, matter. They're not just like, oh, we're losing, let's run back in time, start again. It's not like Groundhog Day. No, it'd be more like that Live, Die, Repeat, wouldn't it? Great film. That, you know, if they're losing, they just repeat the day. They're not like that. But they do understand and can harness it. You know, it's not an easy thing, but they can harness it. So in that respect, it feels multidimensional. If you're talking about the Purge, we don't really delve too much into the Purge. Are still really, as much as we've been living with them for a couple of years now, the Purge are still really a very big unknown thing. You know, with the Firstborn, we've given you their backstory. With the Purge, you really don't know where they're from. Only we do, and we want that story to unfold a little bit more slowly. So that's really cool for me right now, this very second. Just got a chance to log in with the aim of watching this back, and it's still going. I apologise. What is your favourite? I have to see more. What is your favourite part of the new game to develop? What was the favourite part? Well, I've already spoken about mechanically what I preferred. The knowledge dice and the stealth and stuff. The favourite part to develop. Putting the rules together was really nice because there's something very exciting about sitting in front of the board with your handwritten rules, ready for your first proper game test. And you sit there and you bring your crew in and you move your drones and things for the first time, and you start moving stuff around, and straight away you'd be like, there's a problem. What if this happens? That rule is not going to... So you go over to your notepad and you make an amendment, and you go back and immediately implement that amendment. And you just keep playing game after game, game after game. And there's a moment where you just play through a game and you're not touching your pad. I'm not scribbling on my iPad with a pencil, you know. And it's a lovely moment because everything just seems to be exciting, and you game in that for the first time and almost forget the thing, and you go through again, you do it again, you get a couple of notes happen. That's one aspect that I really like. I would say other than that, it's got to be designing all the characters, drawing the concepts, and you know, being able to just sit and let your imagination run wild, you know. And I do everything. It's on this iPad here, so if I look through, I'm sure I've got some characters that haven't, you know, there's all sorts of stuff on it. You know, we've got, look, you can see sketches This is myself and Nick Greenwood kind of putting together little feedback sheets with each other with sketches of, we've got a picture of my original, he's missing an arm because I couldn't fit it all on here, but my initial sketch of a character, and then Nick's one ready to do a thing. We're talking about the head, and we've got a close-up of the head down here, trying to get everything to, to be kind of the way it needs to be. So, that's the first thing I just found on here. What else have we got on here? Oh, this should be interesting. I quite like this. Yeah, look at that. See? A little concept sketch that starts it all off. There's some interesting ones. Look, there's some interesting little things that we went through for different, different design things for gates of Ricer and all that kind of stuff. These are all the little sketches that happened to beforehand. I'm not going to show you any of that. I've got some here's a sketch for a character we never saw. There you go. There's another one. Got some little ideas that are just popping together. I quite like this guy actually. We've got this is don't think we've seen this yet. I might give you a little bit of a There's this guy here. Might be something you can a few little designs. Whoops. Oh, they would better not show you them actually. Just realised what they are. That's for another time. Hang on. What else we got? There must be something I can. I'll give you one sneak peek of something that you might not even see on this campaign, but I just like the character. Check out this guy. I really like this guy. He's got a nice kind of vibe to him. So I think one of the fun things is for me to just sit and draw these characters. Even if it's like, really simple sketches of pose, correct ways to pose miniatures for sculptors, and changing things as we go. My initial little rockworm drawing as a little sketch there. Trying to find. Let me see if I can find something. We've got an original Guardian sketch. These are the Guardians that you get straight in your pledge. These are nice guys, big guys. And I think the fun stuff is just sketching these guys together, because they often sort of change as you're sketching. And I'm trying to have a look, see if I can, let's have a look. Yeah, so you can see, I don't know how clear this is going to be and how fast I can make this, but as I go through different designs, I'm trying to sketch through, and you can see the different designs that I try. I've got all these weird little things, and I sketch through, and eventually I come up with an idea, and I think, oh, okay, that'd be fine, and I start to flesh it out, and then once I'm happy with what I think it might be, I then start to flesh it out until, of course, eventually it comes to the finished drawing that we get. And so often that's the fun part, because you see the drawing at the end, but there's like a million sketches that happen, and I'm just like, don't like that, and I wipe it to one side. I think that's probably one of the most enjoyable aspects, is coming up with those characters. It's also the most frustrating part, because sometimes I can sit there for an evening and do all those little sketches and get nowhere. Or worse, get something that I like, and I really start putting the time to detail it, only to wake up the next morning and go, it's not good enough. So, and that's always a tough call as well. I'd say that's probably the most enjoyable part, is that putting those characters together, because by the time I've finished a really neat sketch of something, in my head I've normally told a couple of stories about that character in my head and what he could be doing, and often the weapon that person would use, and so on and so forth. So that is really, really good. So that's pretty cool. Let's have a look down here. That was so there was your answer, Ben. Let's have a look here. Like a space Hulk meet Fly-Fi. Reavers but mechanical. I'm doing this on my phone now because my laptop crapped out. I could probably refresh that now. I might have a signal. I'm down to this little piece of Coke. Oh, I got it back. I'm down to this little bit of Coke now, which was from yesterday because my water's run out. And all I've got left is this bit of Coke, so this should be interesting. I do like black Coke. Oh, it's kind of stale as well. Yeah, that was weird. Oh, I've got my comments back on here. That's good. Let's have a look down here. What was your inspiration for the Firstborn? Just that they were this ancient race that kind of, yeah, I don't know. For the Firstborn, I think I just started sketching what I thought would look cool. And I think the story developed with that from Wayne. So put out some guidelines about what they were and how they were. And then Wayne's kind of like, well, how about they slept and they did this thing and then it all falls away from there. Let me see if I can find an early Firstborn picture. I'll have to go way back. Way back. Not an early one, but I've got a Trueborn there. That one there's the old, that was me concept for the Trueborn, but way before that. There's an earlier Trueborn. Just a bit more kind of a loose sketch. Let me see if I can find original. Oh, here we go. There we are, here's one. There's an original kind of Trueborn kind of sketch. A little bit too gauly, a little bit too, didn't look wise enough. Kind of almost a bit too scary, and I needed a kind of wiseness to their anatomy. Oh crikey, I've got some proper dodgy sketches here. This was a very early sketch actually that I did, just as an idea of a kind of a character. You'll see that one coming. He's I like this guy. He made it, that guy, which is interesting. Oh, going way back now. God, I've got some original course-based stuff here. Oh, geez, look at this. Yeah, let's not go back that far. So yeah, developing the Firstborn was kind of what I thought looked cool, and then as I was doing it, I was like, I think I need them to be a bit wiser. I didn't just want some evil, scary NPC character with, you know, because we've got even with the Purge, you know, they've got all the scares. They've got that kind of blank face stare, you know, killing without emotion. So yeah, I really enjoyed the inspiration of the Firstborn really just come from doing sketches and what I thought would look cool. And I think once probably Wayne had kind of said they should be out at the end of the Perseus arm or whatever, and we ended, I think we got the being asleep and ancient and stuff like that. I think that's where I took those original sketches, which I would have showed Wayne for inspiration, and then I think the story would have come together. And once I got the story and understood they were ancient technology, and I knew, then I could put the design language together to say, right, no, galactic standard stuff in there and everything I said about earlier. And that then immediately moves to, it enables me to say, right, now I've got the parameters of what I can do. And then they worked from there, which is, yeah, so that was really good fun. That was really good fun. Tried to outsource that originally as well to free up some time for me, but and it was useful because we had a couple of designs come in, and that gave me some really cool inspiration stuff like that, and that influenced the design and stuff. But ultimately, it was just quicker for me to just do it. And by the time the time saving me trying to outsource it, I'd finished the fantasy stuff, which was holding me back, the fantasy terrain, and it was like, well, I'm free now, I might as well just do it myself. And so all the characters came from that afterwards, which was pretty cool. And of course, then we got Nick Greenwood, who is, takes all of these crappy pictures, and then he kind of like just polishes them up to what you see in the final rule book, as it were. So it's very, very, not very often I get to finish a fully coloured picture of anything really. From a character point of view, obviously all the terrain art and all that is my art, but the actual characters is just not my. In fact, the nearest I did this one. I did this guy. He's actually on my. There you go, Road Purge. That was from an initial sketch. So very occasionally I get time to finish one, and I think we put that in the Dangerous Days book. But yeah, otherwise it's not very often that I get to the time to do that. And then you got Nick anyway. That that's 12 hours work for me, and I'll be lucky if I get it right first time, etc. Whereas Nick he's a professional, so he puts his his sketch down, and then he paints it, and it comes back, and you're just like, wow, and there's it could be anywhere between sort of 25 and 50 characters that we need to pull together for a Kickstarter, for the rule book, for the character cards and everything. And if I'm spending 12 hours a character on there, then that's nothing else is going to happen. So yeah, big shout out again to Nick, because can't do it without the polished thing, but the final polished thing. But the fun part for me is the concept, is putting those characters together, the initial drawing, and just having fun with that, which is really great. Are we going to like more galactic cops or bounty hunters, or even a story where they are hunting Zed? That would be cool, wouldn't it? There's some cool stuff in there that we've definitely working on. Got some sketches for some stuff. More galactic corps. You might see an additional character, maybe even in this campaign, that will add a little bit of flavour to the corps. So yeah, for sure, the core, should I say? Might be worth adding a concept art section to the website. Don't know about other folks, but I'd love to see the creative process. Yeah, that might be a thing. Gonna sneeze in a minute, just warning you. That's gone. Or is it going to creep up on me? I don't know. Do the Firstborn have ancient enemies as powerful as them to come? There's a lot of cool ideas with the Firstborn, and for want of a simple explanation, because they were just a faction of the original race, and the original race kind of, if you like, died away while they slept. But there are, they weren't just stuck here, they were checking the whole galaxy. So it's very possible that the remnants of them will be somewhere. More powerful, more knowledgeable maybe, because they've been awake longer, and they're certainly not been driven insane by the dreaming. There's definitely some interesting stuff there. You might be surprised where that integrates actually. Yeah, definitely stuff that we've thought about. So the Firstborn, if there was the Firstborn that are that we have in our catacombs, they were alone. Their race, if you like, for want of a better word, died out. Whether there's any of them left somewhere scattered somewhere else, they didn't have an enemy for themselves, but it could be themselves that are the enemy. With all the backstory, you could do like have books and stuff. Yeah, we talked about books and things like that as well, but it's just a case of time and so we've got to be very careful we don't spread ourselves too thin. So yeah, well, I think as much as I'm having fun, I think I kind of need to draw it to the end eventually, because I've been going for nearly 4 hours, and I've kind of come to the end of your questions. I do apologise if I've missed some of your questions, because it only lets me scroll back, but there might have been a section that I missed. But I've literally been going through every single comment, so I'm hoping I've kind of picked up on all of your questions, and I think that I just think that I had a really good time. So I'm glad that you've. I hope you've been inspired by the stories of Firstborn and the characters and this new location for Core Space. I'm just absolutely having a ball game testing it, it's been. I'm just having so much fun, basically, playing the game. So I'm just glad that you guys are all out there and you're playing it. And I don't always comment because I don't like to barge in, but I'm always watching on Facebook, and I'm watching the conversations on, both our normal Facebook page and our Battle Sims Terrain one and the Core Space Universe Facebook page. I'm watching all your guys. I'm looking at all of the stuff that's coming in painting. I will comment occasionally, but like I said, I don't like to poke my nose in. The amount of cool painted stuff, even people who are painting and they're not used to painting, they're just painting because they're enjoying Core Space, and the missions and the builds and the questions. When people ask a question about how do I do this or what if I want to do that, and the answers that are coming in, the amount of support between you guys who are playing Core Space it's just massive inspiration for me, because you're literally out there, and it's evolved into this community which is central around the Core Space game, and it's seeing that community that has basically said to us, look, we can do what we really want to do, which is to build on the locations and build it up to a much bigger thing. So the plans, we've always had a big plan for Core Space, but the fact that you guys are out there playing it, and we've got fantastic reviews on Board Game, Geek, and we've got, just generally great reviews. I think we've won some awards and stuff, and all sorts of great stuff. And and those, I think the award we won, I can't remember what it was, but it was voted for by the community, all that kind of stuff. It's just says that the game is being enjoyed by everybody. So I'm out there watching all those comments, and I'm watching you give each other feedback, and I'm absolutely loving watching people paint their miniatures and rebase them and do all the cool stuff. So please do stay active out there, and share your missions, and share your pictures of your painted miniatures, and share your questions, and continue to kind of support each other in every way you can, because it's kind of tricky, especially at the moment, to get out there and to game and stuff. So I'm just glad you're all enjoying it, which is really pretty cool. So Yeah, so thanks for that, and thanks for all your thank yous at the end. Will this video be available somewhere anytime soon? Missed the first part. Yeah, I think when you finish Facebook, and there's a button here that I'm going to press in a minute, and it's gonna, I think what it does, it probably does a little loady thing, and then the video will sit on Facebook for, I don't know how long, but long enough, I'm sure, forever, I guess. So I think it's really, you'll be able to, if you want to punish yourself, you'll be able to watch the first part of it as well. So yeah, I guess I need to stop because I'm just going to keep talking. If I can get it under 4 hours, that would be great. So I'm going to do the finger of doodahs. Thanks everybody again. Please do jump on, carry on jumping on social media. I should think of the business now, shouldn't I? Jump on social media, you know, and also, you know, get in those comments on the Kickstarter, and make your suggestions, and just generally spread the news that and ask us questions, and you know, don't be afraid to just talk to us if you've got a question, or if you're on the fence about a thing or a mechanic or whatever. You know, there's always someone there to answer the question, as it were. So thank you everybody, and here comes the finger. God, I need a cup of tea, man. I'm gonna go get this lovely cup of tea. I'm gonna get a cup of tea. It's been 4 hours since I've had a cup of tea. If anyone knows me, that is ridiculous. So here we go. My finger's coming in. I'm going to say goodbye to everybody, and thank you once again. Happy gaming.